All right, we are ready to start a live stream. Although I'm going to let this. That looks like there's 5 seconds left on an ad on Twitch right now. So let me let that finish real quick. Looks like everything is back on there. So cool. All right, yeah, we're ready to start our live stream of some Farming Simulator today. Back on Elmcreek, of course. Let me turn on the actual game. Probably guys don't want to see the stream starting soon all night. There we go. We're in here. We're ready to go. Welcome. We are on the 20th of March. My goodness, we have only got, what, 11 days left in March? So, that is crazy. We're about to be in April, guys. That is insane. Let's see here. Where did we leave off last time? Well, before I get into it, just want to say thank you for if you're joining me either live or on the VOD after the fact. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, comment, subscribe, become a channel member on, or I guess subscribe on Twitch or whatever, you know, all the different things. I guess with both audiences, there's plenty of ways to contribute to various algorithms on both sites. So I do appreciate it very, very much. And yeah, we're ready to rock and roll tonight. Will we get to sugar tonight? I think we'll get to sugar tonight. We'll see. But I think we sold eggs at the end of last episode. We have fertilized the grass here. Still needs the pH, which I was really kind of avoiding it because it's annoying, but we probably should at least get the pH spread out at least once, just every once in a while. Just even though it's a little bit bugged out, I think it still helps a little bit. So we'll go ahead and get some pH spread out real quick. pH being a lime. Hopefully we have enough here. I guess if we don't, we can always get more. Do we have any more over on the right hand side? Don't see any, so I think it's all seed and fertilizer and stuff. We'll go ahead and get this run out here real quick, and at least we'll know it's in a mostly good state, even if it is bugged out a little bit. I'm assuming it's a bug. I don't remember those gaps, and I have used these fields many times over. We're looking on the information that we have. It's getting a little bit dark. Probably one more mow, and we'll need to replace that. Should be good, though. Yeah, we'll get the bread. Let me go ahead and switch over and start picking up some bread real quick. Get that ready to go. We should have already picked up the eggs over there, right? Yeah, we did before we took them to the market, so we should be good with that. Just get the bread picked up here. Oh, that is not what I wanted. I was too close. There we go. Well, just a couple pallets over here. Not a lot. Not a lot of bread, but it'll sell. We'll get some money for it. And we might as well have the flour being turned into bread so we get some value out of it, even if it's not a significant amount. Probably need to move this guy out of the way of the lime dude. Hey, Stormy, how's it going? Long time no see. Although I have seen you comment on YouTube, so I guess you've still been around. Just haven't been on a live stream in a little while. I appreciate you stopping in. I know it's very, very early or very, very late for you, depending on how you look at it. Let me get you some more repairs and fuel here soonish. I mean, is it actually spreading when we get to this little gap area? I mean, it's still spreading. We're still spending lime on it. Yeah, I don't know. So strange. Meh. Oh well, I won't overthink it. Not the end of the world. Just want to get it done so we don't lose any of our precision farming bonus. Or lose as little of it as we can, I guess is the better way to put it. We're going to lose some. I think the most we can get is probably around 13%, but at least make sure that we have the full 13. All right. Get you parked there, ready to pick up maybe one more loaf of bread next month. Or one more crate of bread, I should say. How much do you do per month? You do... No, it'd be two crates. You do 2,000 per month. So, it's not bad. Technically, we could get a third one if we fast forward a little bit into the next day as well, which we might go ahead and do. There's 25, there's like about 22,500 liters of bread just sitting there in flour, ready to go. That's crazy. Make sure we should have quite a bit. Although, to be fair, it can only go so fast, right? It can only do... How much can this actually do in a year? I don't even, you can't even do the full 45, can it? No, there's no... It'll do 40 something. It might be very close, actually, come to think of it. Times 12. I'm sorry, no, my brain was doubling it twice for some reason. 25,000 is what we can do. Yeah. So yeah, we got way more flour than we're ever going to need. I'm okay with the fact that it's sitting there, because probably what we're going to do next year is if we get it filled up, then we'll just have it switched over to full-on storing, so that we can sell it at the market or something. Technically, we got enough flour coming in, we can run a second bakery, but I don't think that's quite what we're looking for. Oh, did you run out? That's fine. I don't know that it's worth finishing off that last little bit. Just wanted to get some down there so that we at least get most of the credit. All right. Goodness, been a little bit tired today. Been a little bit down in the weather. Whole family has, and so it's been a little bit of a fun week. But kids are on spring break starting tomorrow through next week. So can't complain about that. Alrighty, we are good here. Let's fast forward. I think we already checked that. We did. Chickens are good. Water's good. Yep, let's go. Want to get a move on here. I would like to get to some sugar beets. And then all we got left after that is some cows. Old New Holland forage harvester. Don't really need that. Nice beefy tractor though. I mean, yeah, it's great, but it's all our money. We don't need that either. It is nice though. It is very nice. How much do we need to fast forward to get one more? Yeah, just a little bit. We'll just fast forward a bit here. Get that last one coming out. There we go. Might as well. All right, where are we taking you? Johnson's Farmers Market looks like it's the best. Let's go. So we got silage to sell in January. We're gonna have a good chunk of money. Oh, well, I'm assuming that if you said you've been skiing 2 weeks ago and recovering from an injury, that those are in, that there's a connection there, that you may or may not have got injured while skiing. So hopefully it was at least a little bit of fun before the injury, but hopefully you're recovering as well. I personally have never been skiing. I would like to go sometime, at some point. Obviously minus any possible injuries, hopefully. But no, I think it'd be fun to go at some point. Yeah, I'm having fun with the Expedition series. It is, like I said, I've never played, obviously, any of the Mud Runner games. I've seen them played, but I've never actually played them myself. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely, yeah, because I haven't figuring everything out, learning new things, um, making mistakes, which is kind of what you do, you know. There's a reason why they say when you go off-roading to go with don't go alone, you know, go with a friend. Whoop, careful. Um, somebody's always going to get stuck somewhere at some point in time. You need the other person to pull you out. So it's interesting in that game where we're very much alone, at least the way I'm playing at the moment, which is fine. There's other ways to get yourself out of trouble from time to time. The whole winching thing is a little interesting. I mean, I guess they've got to gamify it somehow, but I don't know how many vehicles I've ever seen that have winches, the ability to winch from multiple different points on the vehicle. That doesn't, I don't think that's very realistic. But it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's a game. It's got to have some fun. Got to gamify it somehow. There's nothing wrong with that. I have seen vehicles that have winches on the front and the back. Kind of rare, though. I think mostly you're going to have the winch on the front. I suppose there could be the concept of having I don't know if portable's the right word, a winch that you basically attach in a more movable fashion. But usually I don't think those are going to be mechanical or going to be automatic. They're going to be more kind of you're sitting out there winching it yourself. Now that kind of happens for sure. Obviously you can use what are they called? The long jacks. I know there's a name for them. My brain is not computing right now. You can use those, which I think they use in the game to flip you back up on your front, right? You can use those as a makeshift winch at times. But most of the time you're just gonna have a electric winch on the front of your vehicle, and that's gonna be your primary, pretty much usually your only winch. So yeah, I mean, a little bit of gamification of that where I can kind of winch from all sorts of different directions, but that's all right. No biggie. Still fun. Very few vehicles have the ability to both air down and air up their tires. Like I don't know. It's not super common to have that where you can just sit in the cockpit of your car and just air down, air up. I mean, which I guess they don't. There's no point in them simulating you getting out of the vehicle and actually airing up vehicles. Air up your tires. I do personally in my Bronco have a air compressor installed underneath the hood, which allows me, and I actually have a hose system that allows me to air up and air down all four of my tires at the same time. I have to get out and attach the hose. It's not like something I can just push the button on the inside. I do have to get out, but it definitely makes it a lot easier to do the air downs and air ups. Very, very convenient. The volume's a bit low. All right, so bread is sold. It's December, so there's nothing to do with the grass. Chickens should be fed plenty, so we're not really worried about them. January is going to be when we're doing the silage, so we can wait a little bit for that. I don't think there's really anything else to do except to fast forward. I guess we already checked this. That's right. We drilled over the fence. I mean, I don't know a lot about off-roading, right? I'm very new to the off-roading scene, but I did get to have a kind of a day-long off-roading school, if you will. When I bought my Bronco, Ford actually pays for you to go to what they call a Bronco off-rodeo, where you actually go to an actual off-roading place and you learn the ins and outs of everything about, just off-roading in general, as well as, how the new Bronco what kind of features the new Bronco has. So they take you through a full course. They got you a guide there. You get to use one of their Broncos there, so you don't have to worry about tearing up your own. And you get to go around and do some pretty cool, pretty crazy off-roading. Honestly, I did some rock climbing obstacles that I would never have even thought to try under a normal circumstance if I was just out and about. So it was pretty cool to see the capabilities of the vehicle and be able to do some things I'd never imagined. And then at the very end of the whole thing, they actually let you take you to to the mud track. They've got like a whole track laid out in mud. And so like the whole day you've been spending like rock climbing and kind of slow off-roading, right? Where at the very end, like I said, you get to just let it loose. And so I'm going, 45, 50 miles an hour, sliding the tail end out around this mud track. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that a lot. It was cool. But anyway, if you ever, I mean, it's such a cool experience to be able to go learn all that stuff. So yeah, I did learn a lot about kind of the ins and outs of just basic, safety and kind of how some of the things are supposed to work. Anyway. Alrighty, what we got here? We got, slurry. I mean, if we ever got cows, I mean, it might become a thing. I mean, there's a cultivator. There's a better cultivator and a pretty nice seeder. It also does cultivating. Huh. 8 meters. How big's ours? Ours is 9. But it's 11 miles an hour versus 9 miles an hour. So 8 meters at 11 miles an hour, pretty sure, if my math is right, is faster than 9 meters at 9 miles an hour. You guys can correct me on my math if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. And we could sell these things for about 40K. So we're only paying $9,000 for a slightly faster setup on the seeder. Very tempting. We do have a tractor that's big enough for that, right? Yeah, 210, and that thing takes 240. I would say that's close enough. There shouldn't be any issues with it pulling a 200 and again, the idea that we wouldn't need the cultivator anymore, that we wouldn't need the plow anymore. I mean, we'll need the plow we'll hold on to the plow because we will need the plow for sugar beets, but under the normal circumstances of our sorghum fields, or whatever we change to once we get cows, we would not need to cultivate anymore. The alternative is just get this better cultivator, right? We can get this up to an 8 meter cultivator. It's actually pretty expensive. So at the very least, we'll say we keep it at 5.7. It's still a little bit bigger than the one we got, which I say a little bit, probably a key word there, because ours is what, 4? Yeah, 5.7 is not that much wider than 4. That one goes 7 miles an hour. This one goes 9. So that is already a big difference. But again, if we got this, we don't need it. And we could just run that plow, the one that we've got for the few times that we do this, the one field that we have set up for sugar beets. Yeah, I think this is a better buy. It is going to cost us $9,000 right now, but I think overall it is a better setup for us. I've been skiing since I've been a little kid and been snowboarding only once before. I want to try snowboarding at some point as well. Tried snowboarding on the first day, took 2 tumbles on the go. Got some bruises. Oh, that's no fun. Switched to skis from day 2 and had an enjoyable rest of the week. That's good that you were able to get what you're used to and have some fun there. There are a few real life vehicles with those features, but those are far and few. Yeah, for sure. Definitely not Soviet era small cars though. It's gamification, but not too much. No, it's gamification, but it's the it preserves the spirit of what you're trying to do, right? It preserves the spirit of off-roading, even with a little bit of gamification. So I think it's okay. I think it's an okay level of gamification to still kind of give you the vibe of what you're doing. And, it's not impossible to think that you could find a way to, attach like some sort of let's say instead of, they could simulate like a mechanical winch versus a battery powered winch, one that's hooked up to your car. And that's, the mechanical winch is definitely usable on all 4 corners because you just connect it to a mounting, a tow point or whatever solid point of the, that you want to pull it, if you had to tip up a vehicle or something like that. Because there is a point, I don't remember if you got into the videos you've seen yet. There is a point where I have used the winch to tip my vehicle back up again. So, that is a thing that would happen for sure. But you'd probably be out there cranking it with your hand, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I think we're gonna grab this thing because I think this is just a better overall setup for us. And it's just gonna be a smidge faster, not a significant amount faster. Well, it's gonna be faster because we don't have to run the second. That we have to run the cultivating at the same time. We can just do the cultivating at the time of seeding, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, I like this setup. It was nothing wrong with it. It worked, but again, saving us an entire step plus being overall just technically faster is going to be good for us. Oh, I guess we need to empty out the seeds. Let me come back over here to our concrete slab. Drop off all of our seed. Guess while we're at the store, we can repair up this white tractor as well. Well, we got plenty of seed, considering I have the stuff from the sugarcane that we didn't end up doing anything with. Oh, sorry, excuse me, barrels and buckets and containers. I'm coming through. Yeah, I'm having fun with the expeditions game. It's been good so far. There's a few points where I'm just like, man, I feel like this line should be working. Like it feels like I should be able to get over this obstacle, or have, you know, this is a good line, and just maybe I'm just a little off or whatever and just can't quite get it there. But for the most part, it's pretty cool. I'm definitely having fun with it. Alrighty, I'll repair, repaint, and sell. Repair, repaint, sell. Alright. And then let's grab you. Nothing to change about you. Cool. Happy with that. We'll go ahead and repair you, actually, while we're here. Repair. We are not going to repaint you, though. Do not care about that. Oh, hey, Edward. How's it going? I'm glad you could catch the live stream as well. The game audio... you mean like the engine noise? Yeah, I should have turned it up a little bit now. Yeah. There we go. Something like that. I actually think I enjoy SnowRunner even more as the strategic logistical aspect is a bit more present. Okay, yeah. Honestly, I will try SnowRunner at some point after trying out the Expeditions game. I thought about trying out... Actually, what happened is I was going to try out SnowRunner a few months ago, and then I did some... I searched for it, right? And I saw, oh, wait, they're about to come out with a new kind of MudRunner style game. I was like, well, I might as well wait for that, because, you know, that's going to have a little bit more hype around it. And, oh, I should probably repair this thing while we're here. And, but yeah, I definitely want to try out the SnowRunner at some point, I think. I think it'll be cool. How fun. I haven't even tried it. I haven't thought to try it. I'm assuming you can use a steering wheel with MudRunner and SnowRunner and stuff, right? Like, it would seem logical that you could. I guess there's always a possibility you can't, but I hadn't really looked into it. Obviously I have a steering wheel because I tried it out for Farming Simulator. I didn't really like it because there's too much tools that you got to interact with, and I just didn't like the button setup on the steering wheel. But for a game like, you know, the MudRunner game and stuff like that, I would imagine it would be a lot less buttons that I'm clicking all the time. It's more about the driving, and so I think that might be a little bit more of something that I could try with the steering wheel at some point. They will have... Doesn't miss a trick if you can't use... Oh, yeah. I was going to say, they would definitely have missed something if you can't use the steering wheel. I just haven't looked at it, but I was making an assumption without actually looking at the game menu to see if it was listed in there. I mean, come on, it's a driving game. What driving game doesn't have steering wheel capabilities? It would make no sense. All right, that is that. And It is January, so we need to see if our silage isn't ready quite yet, right? Still up, up, just about a couple more there. I'm assuming it's just the, we're not going to take it to the biogas just because it can't take everything, but I'm just curious the price difference. If I can not be blind and actually find it. It's about the same price. So yeah, we'll definitely take it to the animal dealer here. Let's go. Alright, let's just fast forward till all that turns into silage. There we go. That was actually not that bad. Let's go. Yeah, we're gonna have quite a bit of money. We should be fine on sugar. On sugar beets. Be nice if we get a planter on the cheap, but I haven't seen one of those yet. Hopefully between now and the time that we get a plant, which is what, April? Let's see. Sugar beets are March. So, 2 more months. I doubt we'll see one, but we can hope. In about 6 days, I'm going to be having a new farming, a few episodes of a farming game on YouTube coming up. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun game. Hopefully. It looks like it might be kind of fun in a very, childish manner. If that doesn't give you enough of a hint of what I'm talking about. No, I talked about it last week or a couple of days ago, I think, on one of the things. Is that a sign for it? I don't think so. But yeah, the kid farming simulator game's coming out here, and I think on the 26th. And I want to try that out, obviously, because I think that'll be fun. Just, for my kids as much as anything. How much... Oh, sorry. Expedition got mixed reviews from the community as it deviates strongly from the series content. Wise, physics are the same as SR, just the plot. Okay, fair enough. Plus, I heard that the controls and, or at least the UI was different between Expeditions and SnowRunner for no explainable reason. Now, obviously, for me, this is my first iteration of that series. I wouldn't know that the UI is different at all. There's nothing that looks different to me. It's just a brand new UI. But apparently, they're going to do some tweaks over the next few patches to try to get the UI, I guess, back to the way people are familiar with from the SnowRunner games. But yeah, I'll definitely try out the SnowRunner for sure. How much sugar does the production chain need? Couldn't you do sugar beet contracts to keep the extra in the volume? Yes, 100%. I have done sugar beet contracts before. You're 100% correct. That you just don't need that much. You really don't need much sugar. Just a few 1,000 liters of sugar beets goes far enough to supply everything you need. But honestly, for the sake of this series and the sake of the let's just produce everything we need for the cakes, and then we'll just sell the extra. We'll just do a full. We'll probably pick the smallest field, so most likely the I guess 51. Is that the smallest yield wise? Yeah. Once you combine these two, it is the smallest. Yeah, we'll probably just use this one down, that one down there, and we'll just put sugar beets on it. Honestly, it might be one of those things where we could alternate. We could do one year of sugar beets and then 1 year of all sorghum, something like that. Or we could just keep doing sugar beets and just sell the extra sugar, which should be fine as well. But you are correct. You just do not need that much sugar. The sugar beets goes a long ways. Same thing with sugarcane, honestly. We momentarily tried sugarcane, but I didn't really want to keep replowing. But yeah, sugarcane, it just goes so far compared to what you need. So yes, contract is a great idea if you're going to do this for yourself, for sure. SR and MR have wheel sport, but somewhat spotty, and mini wheels have issues. Really? That's interesting that the wheels would have issues. I mean, it is, for lack of a better way to say it, an arcadey. It kind of has a more of an arcade feel than maybe a true simulation game like Farming Simulator. Like Farming Simulator, you're driving a tractor where the, like, I don't know, there's just a little bit of variance. I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels like it's more arcadey, which to me, I guess I can get why they wouldn't have a steering wheel for more of an arcade style type of game, because it's more about the experience than the let's actually simulate you driving around with a steering wheel. But anyway. I think the drone stuff's interesting. I'm assuming that's not in SnowRunner. I'm assuming that's just an Expeditions thing. Some of that stuff's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit different, a little bit of a different little thing to throw into the game to kind of do some exploration and stuff. And am I wrong to think that wasn't the original Mud Runner? Was that the game called Spin Tires or whatever it was? Or is that a completely different game? That's like similar genre, but just completely different game. I thought that was like the original version of Mud Runner. Like I said, I could be completely wrong, but that's a very old game, right? Like that's fucking 20, 25 years ago or something crazy like that. That's pretty far back. Yeah, 3 tips for someone that was interested in getting into coding. What would they be? Oh, okay. That's a really good question. I mean, my tips would be, first off, figure out what kind of coding, like, what do you like? You know, because there's a few, like, I'm a jack of all trades coder just because that's just what my company requires. So I do front end, you know, UI coding. I do, you know, the back end, you know, for what we use C#, although we used to use Visual Basic coding. And then I also do a lot of database stuff. I work in the database a lot. And I guess I've kind of become the, that's probably my primary focus these days, because I'm just, I don't know, it clicked with me. The database stuff clicked with me. So all of the PL SQL that I use for Oracle and things like that. So I would say, you know, figure out what do you like. Do you like messing with big data? Do you like playing around with the UI, which, you know, that the users are going to interact with? You like, you know, stuff like that. So it's kind of figuring out which one you like, you know, which one appeals to you. That'll help kind of direct you towards a coding language, because there's obviously some variances there. But honestly, just go find something. There's plenty of websites out there that offer like in-browser kind of coding tips, and just, you know, you can play around with it and see kind of, you know, what you like, what looks good. It's hard to say that. I mean, I've known plenty of guys that have worked at my company. I went to a four-year college. I've got a full bachelor's degree and all that kind of stuff. And I've worked alongside people who just went and spent, you know, a few $1,000 to go to a 21-day coding boot camp, and they've got the exact same job I do. So when I think of how much money I spent on my college degree, it's like, oh, I guess I could have just done that and got the exact same job. So I would say my biggest advice is, unless you just really like the college experience, you do not have to go to college to learn coding by any stretch of the imagination. And honestly, in a lot of ways, it's probably not recommended, because if you can go to a 21-day coding boot camp and get the same job that took me 4 years to get an education for, then obviously you can understand the time savings there. I mean, to think about it, I would be 3 to 4 years further along in my career right now if I did that exact same thing. So kind of an eye-opening, plus many, many tens of thousands of dollars less in debt. So it is a bit eye-opening. So you could definitely learn all the coding that you need to be a coder at a professional level from, honestly, online tutorials and coding boot camps and stuff like that. You literally can learn everything you need, which is the one cool, unique thing about coding that you might not get with most other jobs. Pretty sure you're not going to go to the doctor who has just done a 21-day boot camp, right? So coding is kind of one of those unique areas that allows that level of whatever. So yeah, like I said, just go look around at some different languages, see what kind of clicks, what looks fun, and looks interesting to you. And again, really, the area of focus can make a big difference as well. Because I mean, I'll tell you right now, if you know UI coding, React is a big buzzword right now. Anything like that, you can make a lot of money off of that. Because lots of companies are looking for front end UI development, coding, and stuff like that. Another interesting one, I mean, security. You can get into sort of security kind of specialized coding, which is something I don't personally like that much. I'll be perfectly honest. It drives me. I'm just not interested in the security side of things. I mean, other than obviously I'm required to consider security when I'm coding, but other than the bare minimum that I have to do to check the box, I'm not that interested in the security aspects. But people that do security stuff can make a lot of money. And not that you're coding just for money, but it is an option. And then AI. AI is new. I mean, people need to know how to interact with AI and kind of work around that. So learning how to code around that would be pretty big. Sorry, I just went to tab over and it scrolled. I was talking too long. Let's see. What did you guys say? Some base functions are hidden away in some user controls, and they've added things like tire pressure. So people are mad that they have to press 2 buttons. Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. So tire pressure didn't used to be 2 buttons to reach. Okay, that's. I get a little annoyed by that, so I can see that annoyance. Spin tires came out in 2014, but has since been removed from Steam for IP infringement. I thought Spin Tires was older than 2014. I'll be honest. I could have sworn I saw a Spin Tires game back early 2000s. It's also very slow paced, so much controller. So couch controller is more than enough. Plus the studio wasn't as big at the time. Yeah, that makes sense. So Spin Tires, Mud Runner, Snow Runner, Expeditions. Okay, those are all the games in the series. That's what I thought. I thought Spin Tires was older than 2014. My goodness. Okay, maybe so. I thought I had a Spin Tires game from way back when. All right, cool. Let's go to what? Right, 261 grand in the bank. Let's go check out our chickens. And then we will check out our water. Chickens look okay for a little bit longer. Water, I'm assuming, is probably okay as well. Bread's coming along. Looks fine. Water is okay for now. We can hold off until we actually have something else to do. So I think we're good to fast forward. And hope that we get a planter in the used car lot soon. I didn't know what Spin Tires was when I first saw it. Like, I remember looking at it and I was like, because I think I got a free copy of it from something. And I was like, it might have been like, I bought a video card and it came with a copy of Spin Tires or something crazy like that, right? And I'm like, I looked at it and I didn't understand what it was. So I was just like, okay. It just wasn't interested. So I never installed it. I think I probably don't. It's probably back when we had discs, and I doubt I still have the disc for it. Well, we don't need that. We don't need any of this stuff. I mean, the only reason that's interesting is because it's a much larger contraption for what we're doing. But it's interesting that it requires 300 horsepower. That is... What? I get that it's got the whole auger on there, and you've got to be able to spin that up. But 300 horsepower for, like, doesn't auger really take that much horsepower? It feels weird. I don't know why. It just feels like a little excessive. Alrighty. February, there's nothing for us to do on the grass field. We're waiting until March for that, right? Or April, whichever, I forget. I think it's April. And we're planting in March, is the sugar beets. So that is what we have next. When is our sorghum? Sorghum's April. So sugar beets in March, sorghum in April. Is there a reason to double those up and just do them both in April? Sugar beets would be harvested in November. No, we don't want to do that. We want to harvest sugar beets in October. When we are doing mowing and stuff like that anyway. So yeah, we got one more month to see if we can get a planter, and then otherwise we'll have to buy one. I mean, chances of us getting a planter that our tractor can pull is even slimmer than just getting any sort of planter. Coding, yes. Software development, not entirely. All right, let's go. Are you talking about the schooling stuff? When I was talking about not needing schooling for not needing as much schooling? One of my brain tells me that I'm missing something, but I'm pretty sure we got it. Oh, I should probably go check to make sure the eggs are not about to fill up. That would be annoying. Oh, they are. Actually, they might already be full. Oops. One aspect of coding that could be fun because it can apply to your daily life is to learn how to code like scripting stuff, like for your house automation and things like that. You know, that's all the rage these days. Just find some way to like simple scripting programs to script in some house automation or something silly. I don't know, anything like that. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do out there. There's also some video games that will teach you some coding, actually. I mean, it's obviously maybe a bit more basic than what you would normally see, but there are definitely some video games that have a coding aspect to them. I forget the name of it. There was one like IO something, I think, that kind of gives you like the principles of like developing at least algorithms. Maybe not true coding, but more of the algorithms and things like that. That one's kind of interesting. Cool. All right, let's go. I actually started teaching my kids some coding a while back, at a very child level, like very, very, again, more use kind of the idea of if this, then that type of algorithms than actual true coding. But it was definitely fun to kind of get them into the whole mindset. Putting a button on a page and then adding an action to that button so that it can then trigger something else, like, you know, some music or some little dancing bear or something like that, and then kind of coding how that dancing bear will move based on certain things. It was just fun to do stuff like that with them. All right, so it's time to seed some sugar beets. So come on, use lot. It didn't let me down, right? That is a planter over there. Oh, it is too strong though. Oh, wait a minute. Are there two of them? For a second, I thought there was two of them. Like, no, this one's a cedar. Oh, it's too strong. Oh, it is so too strong. There's no way. Can we just tie our two tractors together? Like, is that a thing? Can we just daisy chain them and have one tractor pulling the front track from the front, and then together they're at 350 horsepower? Please. I've seen it work with trains. I think it works, doesn't it? Ugh. It's so sad. I mean, we don't need an 18-meter planter, to be fair. Not for our little field over there. We do not need an 18-meter planter. Ugh, but it's still. I knew we were gonna get one that our tractor couldn't pull. That's why I added that qualification when I said that. Man, I hope there's a planter. Oh wait, I should add the qualification. I hope there's a planter that our tractor can actually pull. Probably something like this. It's 89 grand. It's actually cheaper than that one that we saw just now. Anyway, actually, this is the one No, that's actually still 300 horsepower. Yeah. I think we'd have trouble pulling that one, wouldn't we? We don't really need a very big planter, though. It's a thing. It's not. I'm leaning towards the 89 grand one, but we could probably get by with the 63 grand one pretty easily. All right, let me do some math. We got 264 grand. Let's say we did spend 90 grand on this. That leaves us with 170. And then we still need to get the rest of the bits and bobs, which would be 125. 125. We can make that work. That leaves us with 50 grand. Now, we do still need eventually to get the sugar mill, right? That is a part of this, but I think the sugar mill's 90. Production. 80. So we're close. We're like this close. And then when do we harvest? Again, we harvest in October, right? I said that already. Which means we haven't sold anything yet. We're going to be right on the line. We might need this one. Just to make sure we have guaranteed enough money. 6 meters versus 9 meters. It's 50% larger and so much faster, though. Funny thing is, by the time I've decided what we're going to do, we could have already done it. The time that I'm going to save with the faster planter, I could have just saved that by buying it and already running it. I like to think about it this way. You can learn coding from boot camps and courses and be a successful Scrum team member, but need college to be the Scrum master. Maybe. SoLearn is a great app to use if you want to look at different programming languages and is an interactive way to play around with them. Yeah, that's a good idea for sure. And then I think that a good way of learning coding is to find a fun project that interests you and try figuring out with tutorials and courses how to solve it. 100%. Find something that interests you and then solve a problem. That's the very best advice. Solve a problem. And then once you solve the problem, you're going to run into another problem. And you're going to okay, how do I program a basic menu for a video game? Let me go figure out how to do that. And then, you can use either like a Unity or something like that, or you can do it raw. You can do it flat, on your own. And you're like, okay, so I've solved that problem. I've got a basic UI for a video game. Well, then how do I add this feature to it? Or how do I add sound to it? How do I, whatever. So, I mean, video game is just something that I'm obviously near and dear to me, but you can use whatever example you want to use, but like go do something, go come up with an idea, do something, and then add to it. And as you add to it and as it builds up over time, you're going to learn more and more things. And that's 100% a great way to learn how to code for sure. Now, the question is whether I can use this flashy thing every stream or once a month. Where you can use this flashy thing every stream or once a month? You're talking about the little silver member thing? I actually don't know how YouTube works in relative to like Twitch, right? Twitch has got all the different little bits and bobs of like little toasts and things like that you can do. YouTube's a little bit different, obviously, in how it's got it set up. Alrighty, what did I decide? I got distracted and then decided nothing. The one good thing about this is that we would allow us to fertilize at the same time, which is awesome. You know what? We're going to go for it. I just like this one better, I think. I think we're going to go with this. If we're a little bit short on money, we can always sell something early. We'll have plenty of eggs, plenty of bread. We can definitely sell any of those at the time that we've got to build a sugar mill. The Lemkin one's cooler anyway. Yeah. I get what you're saying, but this one's bigger and faster. This one's small. I don't like the small size. It's too small for me. Oh, wait, did I go too far? Oh, I didn't. Okay. I was like, where did I go? I got distracted. Looking at the catalog while I'm driving down the road. Sure, that's perfectly safe. And by the way, thank you for the 3 months membership, Stormy. Appreciate it. Here's something to keep in mind about like programming and learning how to program, especially if you like video games. There is a new video game. I'm sure most of you guys have already seen it because it's all over the place. A new video game that has come out recently called, I'm going to say it wrong, but I actually haven't heard the correct way to say it anyway. But was it called Balatro, which is like a poker-influenced roguelite. And very basic graphics for the most part, right? Very basic graphics. And honestly, a relatively simple concept that was executed at a very high quality level. And it's a single developer. And I think they said he sold 500,000 copies within the first 24 hours or something like that, or first week or whatever it was. And like single developer just as a passion project put something together and suddenly it just blows up all over the place. I mean, I don't think that guy went into it to make money. He was probably just having fun and doing whatever and maybe wishing he could make a little bit of money on the side. I'm sure he's made a lot of money off of that at this point, considering he's a single developer and all that kind of stuff. So this the coding idea, there's a way. I mean, not that people are coding for money. I'm not trying to imply that, but you know, go have an idea, and you never know what could be successful. I guess is what I'm really trying to get at, is that there is a way to make money even on your own. My entire screen just flashed at me. Hopefully everything's all right. Looks like we're good. But yeah, I mean, if you got an idea, if you got a passion for something, just go do it. And that's the cool thing about coding, is coding can allow you to open up some doors that, you know, you might not be able to open up in other fields of work. I need to get back into video game coding. I really, really do. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm gonna say this, hoping that nobody at my job's watching me right now. Nobody's watching. My job's watching right now. There's what, 3 of you? Oh, I guess there's 8 of you on. How many's on? Quite a few. I guess it looks like several on YouTube. There's 3 of you on Twitch. I wouldn't say that I enjoy my job really that much, because it's just not a passion for me. It's not the kind of work that I want to do. I miss back when I really loved coding. Back when I did which way is this? Okay, the front's over here to the right. Back when I did video game stuff, because that's actually what I went to college for. I think I've mentioned it before. I went to college for video game design, and I miss it. I miss it. It was a lot of fun. I need to get back into that. And so I would love to kind of come up with some sort of idea that I can just go have some fun with and execute on. Oh, I need a front weight. I think we have one, don't we? Oh, you know what? I don't know if I've ever bought one for this. Can this one even have a front weight? Do you have to... Is it part of the editing, like the configuration? It says under here. What is it? What do we have? We have a Valtra T195. So, and what category is that? That's a medium. Valtra T195. T195. Oh, but I can change it to a 3-point mount. But I can't put weights on it. Okay. Yeah, we should go get some weights for this thing. Cool. Does it say what kind of weight, what size weight it should have? Is that the 3 tons? No, that's just how much this thing weighs. Does it not tell you? I thought it used to tell you sometimes what size weight you needed. I don't know, we'll just go grab whatever weight we can. I mean, maybe I should just convert it to a 3-point and then just grab one of those weights. But are we ever going to need a 3-point for anything? Sugar beets. Once we harvest the sugar beets, we're going to want the 3-point. So we will convert this to a 3-point setup. Because the sugar beets, we'll have to have the topper on the front. And I don't want to run that with the other tractor doesn't even have a 3-point option, I don't think. Buy good equipment and great tractors first. Once you have the money, you can get great equipment. That's a good point. That's a very fair point. I think tractors is the thing you probably want to skimp on the least, because it's the thing you're driving around the most. And it's also the thing that is the equipment's going to be most dependent on it being, you know, good, right? Again, right now we're running into an issue where our tractor is only so powerful. And so if we had a slightly more powerful tractor, we could run basically any equipment, right? You know, we wanted, right? I think getting a great tractor is a good first step, followed by basic equipment, and then you can upgrade the equipment at a later point. All right, let's come over here. We'll change you to a 3-point. Customize. Wait, okay, that's just the default. I was like, it doesn't have a 3-point on there already, does it? Did I just miss that it's had one? Oh, is it actually free to put the 3-point on there? Okay. Well, then we'll do that for sure. And we already obviously are on the fastest or the most powerful engine. The only difference would be if we wanted to change the, you know, oh, we're not on the most powerful engine. Oh, I forgot that we could go more powerful. We could go 271 horsepower. I totally forgot about that. I mean, we don't need it. Yeah, we really don't need it for anything. I'm trying to think if there's anything we need at 200. No, we don't. So we're fine. I forgot to actually hit enter for the 3 points. I totally forgot this thing got more powerful. Oh, it's good stuff. Is there anything else we need? I don't think so. Cool. All right, let's we'll customize that for $0. And then we'll get us a front weights. Oh, it doesn't show a combo or combination, does it? Sometimes it does that. It does. So they're saying either a 900 or a 1500. Oh, actually, all of them are 1.5. So we'll just grab a 1.5. Doesn't really matter. For some weird reason, I think I like these. These look more high speed. They're the same. We'll just buy that. Cool. All right, now we're good to go. Should have grabbed it earlier, but I actually forgot this thing didn't have a weight available to it. That's what I get for playing multiple Let's Plays for Farming Simulator. I forget which save has the weights and which one doesn't. Hey, Ben, how's it going? I haven't been here for a reason. I've had a lot going on the last month. No, it's no worries. I appreciate you stopping by tonight. I understand. I have some favorite streamers that I like to watch, and I don't always get to watch them every single time they stream either, so I get it 100%. Plus, this is pretty awkward time for a lot of people. I'm still trying to consider when or if or how I can shift this to maybe a slightly earlier time, but again, with family obligations, it's hard to do. All right, hopefully that gives us the stability that we need. I guess I should not plant corn. I probably should change that before I accidentally plant corn. Sounds like something I would do. It's nice that we can fertilize this all in one fell swoop, though. I'm assuming, it should be full fertilizing it, right? Or am I misremembering how these... I actually haven't run one that has fertilizer built into it for forever now. So I need to check to see if it is actually full fertilizing. I don't remember. No, we're good. Perfect. Alrighty, while you're running, let's go get the cows. Not the cows. The cows that look like birds. The chickens. Let's get them fed up. The time has been one of the biggest reasons I have not been able to join. Been sick through sleeping is all over the place. Yeah, no. I hear you there. My entire family's sick right now, actually. We got it's the fun thing about having lots of kids is that when one of them brings home a stomach bug from school, it is just a matter of time until the entire family is to deal with a stomach bug. And I'm not going to go into the gory details, but there's been a lot of trouble from various stomach bug related areas of the world. It has been pretty gross lately. And it's never fun to see your kids, sick. I mean, seeing your kids just pale and nauseous and just looking miserable. Oh, it guts you as a parent. It is not an enjoyable. Not that sick. Anybody sick is enjoyable, but I don't know. For kids, it just feels like you feel so helpless. You can't do anything. You want to take that sickness from them so bad. What was I gonna do? I was gonna check the water. My wife hates it when she gets a stomach bug because I always make fun of her, and I'm like, "Oh, you're pregnant again." She's like, "No, 4's enough. I'm good." She does not find my jokes funny for some reason. I don't know why. The high-speed weight, yes. Gotta have the high-speed weight, you know? I mean, you got a high-speed looking tractor. Gotta make sure the weight is aerodynamic. Sorry, I get that tonight the first time I've been able to stop by, and it's because I'm in the hospital. Oh, you're in the hospital? I am so sorry to hear that. I hope everything's okay. I mean, I guess it's not okay if you're in the hospital, but hopefully everything's going to be okay, I guess is what I meant to say. I guess what I'm trying to say is, of the hospitable or hospital type of levels of seriousness, hopefully it's on the lower end of that spectrum. I've been in the hospital far too many times. I had to go to the hospital a lot when I was a kid because I used to have lots of asthma issues, so I would always be in the hospital for asthma related problems, which those were never fun. Something about not being able to breathe is not something I enjoy. And then I went like a whole, like 20 years of my life without ever looking at a hospital. And then suddenly, you know, I hit like 30, 35 or whatever it was. And then I'm like in the hospital like every other year for some reason. You know, I had my appendix almost rupture on me. So I had to have emergency appendectomy. That was fun. And then just various other like bits and pieces of like various issues in the following years after that. So yeah, hospital stays are not enjoyable. The front wing, the front weight almost has an F1 front wing look to it. Yeah, that's true. You're actually the only streamer I watch on purpose. Everyone else I watch if I happen to stumble on a stream while having time to watch in the back. Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that you stopped by, Stormy. Always. There are a lot of streamers that I watch, but I don't catch them live. I just watch the VODs on YouTube. So I do that a lot. I do watch a lot of VODs for streamers for their live streams a lot. I mean, I've told you guys I watch Cool 18 a lot, and a lot of times I don't catch his streams. So I usually catch his VODs after the fact. If you watch my Football Manager content, you know I watch a guy named Lalujo on there. He does a lot of Football Manager stuff. I don't tend to catch his live streams a lot, so I watch his recaps on his YouTube channel. Honestly, the biggest reason I probably don't watch Twitch that much is because I have a Roku TV. That's just what I have. It worked great for a long time, and then there used to be a Twitch app for it that somebody had created. It wasn't like an official one, but it was a way to watch Twitch on the Roku TV. And then Roku, either Twitch or Roku, I forget where the disagreement was. They just made it where it couldn't work anymore. So since I can't watch Twitch on my TV anymore while I'm like just chilling and doing work, I only watch YouTube these days. Now, granted, I could watch YouTube streams, but you know, everybody knows that a lot of the bigger streamers are going to be streaming on Twitch as opposed to YouTube, even though I do both. Good reason. It's a good reason, really. I had weight loss surgery today. Got the gastric sleeve. Oh, okay. Well, I'm hoping that everything works out with that as well, because I know that is a I don't know. I don't want to say scary, but it's definitely a you know, it's a life-changing thing, right? It's a very life-changing thing for a good reason, but it's a life-changing, you know, thing to have happen. You know, my mother-in-law, she had that done as well, and definitely helped her out a lot. She lost a lot of weight. It was really good for her. Obviously, she did not eat very much any time after that. It was definitely anytime she go get something to eat, you know, she can only eat very small portions, which is the whole point, right? But yeah, definitely. Hopefully everything works out there. I mean, at this day and age, those types of procedures are usually pretty safe because they're very good at them, you know. So, but I guess I'm not less worried about the safety and more like hopefully it does what it needs to do and helps you, you know, you lose whatever weight that you need to lose, which is good. It's amazing that we have technology like that in this day and age that can assist with stuff like that. It's really cool. Our world has gotten to a very interesting place as far as medical breakthroughs and whatnot. Do we need any more water right this second? We can wait off. Since our planter over there finished, we'll just wait for now. The amount of content available on YouTube is crazy as well. Samsung TVs don't have the Twitch app, at least here in the UK. Oh, okay. I did not know that Samsung TVs don't. Now I do have a little dongle for Amazon, I guess. What do they call it? It's the Fire TV or something like that. I don't remember what the dongle is. And I can watch Twitch on that, but I usually only watch that if I'm watching something specific, like if there's a specific event going on Twitch that I wanted to watch, then I'll plug that up and I'll watch that on there. I'm trying to put this around back here. Guess I can fill you up at least while I'm here. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Twitch. I mean, I guess it's an Amazon thing, but I don't know what the deal is with them with certain things not being able to work with it as like they should. Come on. Did not realize that was actually a collision piece of little pipe sticking out there. I was not expecting collision from that pipe, to be honest. I mean, I guess it will have it, but it looked like it was more basic than that. Just wanting to back this thing up right there. There we go. Good enough. Somehow it's floating. Okay, whatever. It works. All right, March is done. We got the planting done, and obviously it's fertilized already, so that's a good double thing there. And we got our sugar beets finally. So we are finally officially on to sugar. We still need to do sorghum in next month, right? And we're mowing next month, correct? Yep. And sorghum is in April. Cool. Then let's fast forward. How's our bread come along? And we might as well go empty it while I'm thinking about it. All right, Ben. Sounds good. Yeah, I remember when my appendix was so bad. Like I'd gone out to eat with the guys at work that day, and then I started feeling something bad on the way home, and I was like, okay, it's just, you know, maybe it's just a typical stomach problem, whatever. Maybe whatever I ate at the restaurant, you know, just didn't agree with me, whatever, you know, no big deal. And so I went home, And I told my wife, I wasn't feeling good, so I think I went to bed early that night. I woke her up in the middle of the night. And I'm like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I gotta, like, this is bad. Like, something's wrong. I gotta go to the hospital. So, we pack up all the kids and we zip over to the hospital. And I think I remember, like, the pain was so bad that I like they're doing all the blood, like the blood pressure and all that fever checking, like at the outer nurse's desk before I get admitted back to the ER. And I think if I remember right, I basically just about passed out right there. Like I was just so much pain that I was lightheaded. I couldn't function, and like it was just bad. And like for a while there, they didn't do anything because I think they had done like a basic scan and they didn't see anything wrong. And for whatever reason, I guess the pain was going on for so long and it was so bad throughout the evening that they finally, I guess they did a scan from a different angle. And for some reason, something, I don't remember what organ or what part of my body was blocking their view of the appendix from the first scan. So they looked at it and they thought it looked normal. And so they thought, like, okay, it couldn't be the appendix. And then a doctor later came in and I kept describing the pain and it just wasn't going away and all this stuff. So I think he did a scan like in a different way, or maybe maybe they used an actual ultrasound the second time. I can't remember exactly what they did. And they were able to look at it from a different angle and see that, oh, okay, yeah, we got to get this out right now. like immediately. So within like minutes, I was already like under and ready to have surgery done. So it was a very interesting experience for sure. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. It was, man, pain is crazy. And pain that's so crippling that it literally takes you to your knees. It's a rough deal. So, I mean, I know that a man, it's hard for a man to say he'll ever understand the experiences of childbirth, but I would have to imagine I was pretty close that day. It was pretty bad. Like, oh man, I could barely breathe. It was a rough go. What am I doing? We are fast forwarding to April. Anything we need to look at? We've already looked at all this. We've already drilled over that. Nothing to see there. Huh. I mean, it's nice. Doesn't really help us. Because that's for the harvester, right? That's the Ropa RR645. That is for this bad boy, isn't it? Yep. Yeah, we ain't buying that. We are not buying one of those. So we'll just look at it and wish it was the header for the tractor, because that would be nice. We don't need this. I mean, we don't have a semi for it anyway. It can't hold the sugar beets. It is pretty useless to us. So yeah, we don't need any of that. All good. April is time to start planting and mowing. So we'll start with the planting. We'll get the planting going, and then we'll get the other guy mowing. Get to try out our new planter. Oh, that's right. The seeder was a little bit more powerful than our tractor. I could have bumped up the horsepower a little bit. If we have troubles, we will. I'm pretty confident we won't have any trouble. Again, usually if you're within like 10% of the horsepower, I personally have not really noticed any major differences in speed or anything like that. I'm sure there's some differences, but it seems like it's minimal. Come on. Sorghum. All right, let's see if my estimation of this having enough horsepower is correct or not. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he's just upshifting a bit. Is he gonna be able to get there? I mean, it might be taking him a little bit longer to upshift all the way to 11 miles an hour than he would if he had more power, but I think he's gonna get there. He won't get there before he has to turn around up here, but I think he will eventually get to 11. I'm just gonna move you across and do this field as well. He might be a little bit slower, and next time we go to the store, we might bump up at the horsepower a little bit, but we're tight on money right now, so I didn't want to mess with it just yet. All right, what was I going to do? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Grab you, get the mowing set up. Allergies are bad today. Keep coughing. I hope I never lose my appendix. All the stories I hear about it doesn't sound like a good time. I mean, getting your appendix removed before the pain starts is probably a great time. But yeah, getting your appendix removed while you're in pain, definitely not a great time. Do not recommend. Obviously, it's one of those things where there's no point in removing the appendix, I guess, if you're not in need of it, but I will say the procedure itself was pretty tame. They I think just put like an incision like right above my belly button, and then another incision on like my side, I think. And I guess that's where they put the tools in, and I guess they were able to do whatever they did and pull it out without being gross. And so the recovery was like nothing. Like there was like no recovery. It was just like two little cuts and super fast recovery. In fact, I think I remember being out of the hospital like literally halfway through the next day or something like that. I mean, it was literally, I had the surgery that night, and then like the next day they were like, all right, you can go home now. You know, whatever. Here's some medicine in case you're in pain again. Like, all right, cool. It pretty simple overall once they actually figured out what it was. I've never had a broken bone, so I guess I've lucked out on that regard. Had multiple surgeries on my sinuses though. That was fun. That was during that period of time where I was trying to chase down the cause of my migraines, and so there was a suggestion that my sinuses and kind of the way that there was problems with my basically I had sinusitis. If you don't know what that is, it's like basically your sinuses are closed up more than they should be. And so they had to go and do some surgeries and do some things. They had to fix the deviated septum because apparently I had a broken... I guess I said I didn't have a broken bone. I guess I had a broken nose at one point. I don't even remember how I don't even remember having one. And so I guess I got a broken nose at one point and it messed up my... gave me a deviated septum. It was all crooked in there. And then, and obviously all my sinuses were all closed up. So they did all that. I actually had to have 2 procedures to get it fully opened up. So they did one, and then like a year later... I had them check again. They're like, oh, by the way, did you know that you have sinusitis? I'm like, what are you talking about? I just had a surgery a year ago to fix the sinusitis. He's like, well, I guess they didn't get it all. Or they didn't do enough. So they had to do another procedure to do all that. And, costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time. Very uncomfortable, honestly. And unfortunately, that was not the cause of my migraine. So it was very demoralizing as well. All right, so yeah, our horsepower is definitely not quite there. This thing he gets up to 9 miles an hour, then he slows back down again. So we'll have to bump up the horsepower at some point. We'll get there. I'm not super concerned about it because he is going to be able to get it done, but we want to bump that up next time we go to the store. He is able to pull it, but he's about probably 10 horsepower off of being able to pull it without any issues. Fortunately, I have never figured out what actually causes the migraines, so it is one of those things I've just had to learn to live with. I think I've talked about it before. I have this little, did I talk about it on the live stream not that long ago? I have this little device. Are you guys seeing me? I just realized my screen over here, my OBS is frozen, but I think YouTube and Twitch are both fine, which is very strange. So I think you guys are seeing me all right. I don't know why my OBS screen itself is frozen. No worries. As long as you guys can see me, I'm okay. But yeah, anyway, so I have this little device. I think I've showed it before, which is a Cephally device. And, you know, it just attaches to your forehead. And it's weird. It sends like an electrical pulse into your forehead, which just feels like somebody massaging my head, which is really weird. A weird sensation. But it works. It's not cheap, unfortunately, but it works. Well, I say it works. It works. It helps is probably the better way to say it. It does not get rid of the migraines, but it definitely takes enough of the edge off that I can pretend to be a semi-functional human being for most of the day. I don't take any medication as preventative. I've tried all the medications. I've tried the shots. They've got like these different injections that you can do, like once or twice a month or whatever. I can't remember the cadence. I've tried those. I've tried. There's like 4 or 5 of those. I think I've tried 3 or 4 of them. I don't know if I've tried literally all the ones they've come out with, because they keep coming out with new ones of those. But like Aimovig or something like that is one of them. There's a few others. So I've tried pretty much all of those. I've tried all the medicines, the typical medicines, like was it Topiramax? I don't remember. Whatever they are, all the different medications you can take. I hated the side effects from those, and they definitely did not help. The problem with migraine prevention, the really big problem with migraine prevention, especially the medications and the shots and stuff like that, is that you have to take them for like 6 months before they know if it's even going to work or not, because you've got to kind of build up something. So it's like I've got to suffer for the next 6 months for something that might not work, just to find out that it doesn't work, and then I've got to try the next one and try that for 6 months. And all the time, while these are not working, you know, I'm suffering through, you know, not fun migraines. So it was a very stressful about 3 or 4 years for both my wife and I, because I mean, as you can imagine, if you are dealing with if anybody's ever dealt with a headache or a migraine, whichever, it's hard to be for lack of a better way to say it, it's hard to be a kind human being when you're dealing with a migraine, quite frankly. I mean, so typically what I would do is I would hide. I would hide in my office, away from my kids and my wife, so that I did not, in a moment of, you know, suffering, lash out and treat them in a way that I did not want to treat them, right? I didn't want to be mean to my wife and kids. I didn't want to, you know, have a short temper, but, you know, when you're dealing with a migraine, it's unfortunately kind of easy to not be in a good place. So I would hide a lot. So I basically, for 3 or 4 years there, while I was going through all the medications, I basically hid from my family for probably a very large 80% of that. I would not be surprised. I mean, it was a big chunk of time. So my wife was very gracious. My wife was very patient with me. I very much appreciate that. But it was a struggle for our family. I had to, this is actually pre-COVID, right? This is like 3 years before COVID. I was working from home because I couldn't drive most days because the light sensitivity from the, you know, from being out in the sun and stuff like that. And so I was like, hey, can I just work remote? And so I actually was working remote for like 2 or 3 years before COVID even started. And then COVID came along and I'm like, well, I'm already here. I'm already used to it. So it really didn't, the whole COVID thing, other than obviously the awfulness of what COVID was, the work impact did not affect me at all because I was already working from home. But yeah, it was an ordeal. And then, like I said, so I gave up on all the medicines, because the other problem with the medicines is that I'm trying one. I'm like, oh, this is the one that's going to work. This is the one that's going to work. And I'd build myself up. I'd hype myself up. And then when it didn't work, I would get very depressed. I would fall into I was dealing with a lot of depression during those days, because just I was always getting my hopes up and nothing was working. It was tough. And so one of the big things that we did, quite frankly, is we packed up our bags and we moved to Colorado. That was the first thing we did. And so getting away from, I guess one of my triggers was the weather and the humidity and the pressure. I don't know, any number of things. Whatever combination of weather, pressure, and humidity in Texas, where we lived in Texas, was causing a big part of it, by moving to Colorado, to the drier atmosphere. I don't know if the higher altitude, I don't know, whatever it is here in Colorado, it has helped significantly. Now, obviously, we had to move away from all of our family, which is not fun, but obviously my family understands and they're happy with it. I will say this: every time we go back to Texas to visit family, the entire week we're back in Texas, I am in the most miserable state possible, which is just a reminder of why we left. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why we left, because I can't deal with this. This is bad. And so Colorado helped a lot, and then, like I said, this little cephaly thing helps take the rest of the edge off when I have a especially bad day. So I've at least been a functional human being for the last few years, and my kids have actually gotten to see my face a few times. So that has been good. You get chronic migraines, you have no idea what causes them. Yeah, migraines are mysterious, honestly. It's very strange. When I lived in the States, I didn't get very far with getting it sorted. Came back to the UK, and they put me on propranolol, which took like 3 weeks to get in your system. Okay. They have me on... Okay, I have done sumatriptan. In fact, I probably... in my little medicine cabinet or medicine drawer over there, I probably still have some sumatriptan pills in a bottle buried in the bottom that I just never finished to get rid of them, which works really well. Once one hits, though, it's very easy to get irritated at people around. Yeah, for sure. It's unfortunate. I hate that something like that can cause me to be that irritable. And I guess the way I look at it is, if it was like leg pain or arm pain or something like that, or back pain, anything like that, am I going to be irritable? Yes. But I could probably manage that irritability. When it's your brain, when it's your head, and it's a migraine, it affects your way to think. You just can't... It's hard to focus. It's hard to remember things. It's just... Migraines are and headaches, just in general, are a vicious way to... anywhere else in my body, I probably would have at least been able to fake a smile on my face. With a migraine, you just can't. It sucks. I will say the one thing it definitely helped with my migraines, though, and it was like, I was like, can I find a way to productize this? It was, my wife, sometimes I would just be laying down, closing my eyes because I couldn't even open them to look at the light. And my wife would just kind of massage my scalp. And that made a huge difference. It helped a lot. But my wife can't sit there and massage my scalp for like 12 hours a day. So I'm like, can I find like a device that will massage my scalp for me? Because that felt good. And like I said, that's kind of what this cephaly thing does. It's almost like a electrical massage. It's just so weird. It just numbs everything out. I've done Botox. Apparently Botox injections around your head and I guess your neck are supposed to help some people's migraines. It did not help me, although I guess that's why I don't look my age, maybe. Although I don't think my dad looks my age, and he's never done Botox either. Like, my family, the men in my family do tend to look younger than their age in general anyway. So I don't think it was explicitly the Botox, but my wife likes to make fun of me for the fact that I look like I'm 30-something when I'm actually 42, and she makes fun of me because of the Botox. So, fair enough, I've had my head scanned more times than I can count. Seriously, I cannot remember how many times I've had my head scanned. It's one of those weird situations where, do I want them to find some tumor in my head? Of course not. But it would at least be an answer, right? It's at least like, oh, there's your problem. Like, have you ever had one of those experiences medically where you're like, I don't want something bad to be there, but at least it would answer what's going on. Like, it's at least an answer. It's a weird dynamic to think that way, but one of those things. All right, sorry, I got distracted. Are we doing anything? No, we're not doing anything with this yet. Let's go park this bad boy. Yes, I have been ranting and raving about migraines for the last half an hour, but sorry. I guess that's the fun of Livestream. I get to talk about random stuff that has nothing to do with the video game. I will say though, migraines aside, I'm very happy that we moved here to Colorado. We love it here. We love the nature. We love the mountains. We love the cooler weather. It's so nice. You know, like it doesn't, I mean, I like the snow personally. I actually wouldn't mind it snowed a little bit more where we lived. Because we'll get snow and then by like the next day it's already all melted, right? I mean, like we got like a foot and a half of snow last week, and within like a couple days it's already gone. It's already all gone, right? Except for a few piles on the side of the road or whatever. Which I'm like, oh man, I really like it. You know, I kind of enjoy it a little bit. So I actually kind of wish we lived in a little bit more snow, but you know, we get minimal amount of snow. We still get snow. Weather's nice and cool, and then during the summer, it's great. The weather feels very great, very nice. Unlike the 105-degree weather, 110-degree weather you get in Texas sometimes. I do not miss the heat in Texas at all. And for you guys that are in the non-American countries, I do not know what 110-degree weather is in Celsius, but it's probably very stupidly high. So, it's pretty hot. I looked it up one time. I forget what the number was. I don't want to say it because I'm going to be wrong. Is there anything else we got to do today? I guess we can do some water. Yeah, we left off a little bit empty. Or not completely full, I should say. Yeah, 43 degrees Celsius. Okay, there you go. That's... It's toasty, especially in the humidity. Ugh. You just feel nasty. Like, you feel just nasty. It is not a great experience. I will say this about Colorado, at least specifically where I live in Colorado, and I was not expecting this, and that is that I could go outside barefoot in like 25, 30 degree weather because we get so much direct sunlight here, and we're at obviously a higher altitude, that in the sun, even if it's 30 degrees outside, you can feel the heat of the sun on your skin, and obviously it can heat up the sidewalk pretty quickly. So I can walk around, like I've got pictures of me like walking around barefoot with snow on the grass beside me, and it's just like it's a weird, funny dynamic. And my family back in Texas thinks I'm crazy, and I'm like, it's actually not as crazy as you think. It's actually, it feels warmer than you would expect because of how much the sunlight kind of just hits us. Yeah, it's cold weather, but it's not. There is a warmth there that you don't expect. Oh, come on back here. I think we're off. I think we're off by like a tiny bit. Okay. Let's go get the water. We had 40 here last summer, and it was unbearable. Almost nowhere. Oh, you guys don't have AC. That's right. I've heard about that, or I've read about that, right? Definitely certain European countries that you never get that hot, so you just don't have AC as a standard, right? And that's man, that's tough. I can't imagine. We are a bit spoiled here in the United States, I suppose, because I've never lived anywhere, north, south, or anywhere in between, that hasn't had both heaters and AC. I think in Hawaii, I've known somebody who lived in Hawaii. I think they've mentioned that they don't typically have AC in the houses in Hawaii because obviously the weather's usually pretty neutral. So that's not a concept they have over there very often. UK is cold and damp. There you go. Well, I want to visit the UK so bad. I really do. When I went to Europe 20 years ago, we skipped UK because we wanted to go to countries that didn't speak English. Even though everybody that we met that was our age spoke English in all the other countries. But so we kind of left UK off because we decided it was not as, I don't know, exotic, for lack of a better word. But I would love to go back and see the UK. I want to so bad. Which I know sounds like if you live there, you're just like, all right, whatever. It's not that special, you know. But you know, for us, for anybody that's foreign, you know, like for you, you would probably want to come to the United States, and I'm like, okay, come on. Where I lived in the United States wasn't that special either, you know. Although where I live now is pretty cool. But yeah, I would like to go. I mean, my brother-in-law is from. I think he's from. I don't think he's from actually from London, but he's from near London. I want to say. I could be wrong. I don't remember exactly where he's from, but he is from UK. So, although I don't think he's been back to the UK since he moved here, 20 some odd years ago. I just want to go back to Europe in general. I enjoyed traveling around there. It was fun. My wife and I have never gone on a honeymoon. Our honeymoon was surprise or congratulations, you're getting stationed in a military base, you know, somewhere. I can't remember if I've ever mentioned the military base. I'm trying to be careful about how much information I give out, but it's probably not that big a deal. But she was stationed in a military base, and so we got married so that I could get on her. Well, we got married because we loved each other, but we got married at the time that we did so that I could attach to her orders and I could you know, live on base with her. And so that was our honeymoon, getting stationed somewhere. And we never actually went on a trip honeymoon. So I'd love to take her on somewhere sometime, somewhere to Europe or wherever. No, Europe travel is insanely easy. That's what me and my buddy did right out of high school. We were 19 years old, so we were young and dumb. But we just brought backpacks, had all our clothes in our backpacks, and we just bought a Euro pass for like 3 weeks or whatever it was, and we just traveled around on the Euro, right? I mean, it was perfect. It was awesome. Most of the time we slept on the train, so we didn't have to pay extra for sleeping, although we did also have a tent with us, and we camped out a couple times as well. But I mean, we went all over the place. It was a great experience. Maybe not the most luxurious experience, so I'm sure if I travel with my wife, she will expect a little bit more pampering than we were afforded. But for two guys just, you know, chilling and, you know, whatever, we bathe out of a sink and wash your clothes in the sink, whatever, you know, it didn't matter, right? We didn't care. So it was definitely a much more laid back thing for us. But yeah, I have a feeling my wife is going to expect a few more hotels than we stayed in. But we did go. We went all over. We went to France. We went to Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Italy. We were gonna go to Spain, but then I got sick. Like it was the last. I think it was like the last 3 or 4 days of our trip. I got really sick. Thankfully, my buddy's sister actually lived in Italy at the time, so we stayed with her for like 2 days while I recovered from my illness, and then. By then, we only had like a day or so, day and a half before our flight out of Paris. So unfortunately, we had to skip Spain, and we went straight back to Paris instead, which is fine. It was still enjoyable, but that was the one place that we wanted to go that we just didn't make it. I love Switzerland. Switzerland was cool. Of course, I like mountains, so that kind of helps. Neuschwanstein Castle, that was awesome. I remember that one very clearly. Got to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower. That was pretty cool. Obviously, we went to the Louvre. The Louvre? I always don't know how to say that. You know what I'm talking about. The museum where the Mona Lisa's at. The word I cannot pronounce because I'm sure I'm probably saying it wrong. We did that. It was awesome. It was just a great experience. Loved it. Actually, my buddy, the reason we decided to go when we did is that he had done as part of his college, his first semester at college, he was able to do a study abroad program for a semester in Greece. So he'd actually just been in Greece for 6 months, or whatever, you know, a semester, I guess 4 months, or whatever. And so he left Greece and met me in Paris. I flew over, met him in Paris, and then we backpacked around. So yeah, he did go to Greece, and he said Greece was amazing. So, but we didn't want to go back because he just left it, obviously. So I would like to have gone back to Greece as well for sure. Yeah, Stoßlüften. Is that how you? That's a Stoßlüften, right? If I could pronounce my German correctly. Believe it or not, I took 3 or 4 years of German in high school and college, but that was 20 some odd years ago. So I may not pronounce the words the right way anymore, but I used to know how to pronounce things like Stoßlüften. But I don't know what that means actually. I mean, I think I know it. No, I don't want to say it wrong. I thought I knew what Luften meant. I don't know what the Stoß means though. Stoßlüften. Trying to parse that, and I don't know if I know that one. My German, I should not even try. My German's so embarrassing at this point. There's no way I can say things correctly anymore. I wish I knew languages better, though. I would love to be able to just speak languages. Like that guy on TikTok, I'm sure everybody's seen him, that, you know, speaks fluent Mandarin or whatever. And he speaks lots of languages. I think he speaks, like, Russian. He speaks, like, Indonesian. He speaks Korean. Like, he speaks all sorts of things, and he likes to surprise people by, like, just speaking their language on... I think it used to be on like Omegle or something like that. Anyway, I would love to learn languages like that. That would be so fun. But I'm just... the languages I learn are the coding languages. That's about where I could draw the line. I don't know how to... I don't know the speaking languages that well. Although I have been learning Ukrainian recently. Because I've always wanted to learn a language that used, you know, you know, Roman characters, I guess, or whatever... I would call them English characters. You know what I mean, though. I wanted something with different characters. And so I was like, you know what? You know, I decided to... I was trying to decide between some of those. And I said, you know, Ukrainian like that might be kind of interesting. Whatever I could find on Duolingo at the time. Actually, I had a buddy who learned Hebrew in college, which is just, it's kind of fascinating to think about. Which obviously uses different characters and things, so it would have qualified, I suppose. Yeah, I'd like to go back, try to check out Greece. I wouldn't mind going to like Egypt at some point. I know I just mentioned Europe, and Egypt is not Europe, but you know, it's Europe adjacent, right? I mean, for me, Egypt is like if I were to go drive back to Texas from here, right? Like that's probably a little bit of a stretch, but you know, it's like it's right next door. You know, it's not that far. In America, distance is so like different, right? If I were to drive, like I used to drive from North Carolina back to Texas, and I've driven to, you know, obviously Colorado down to Texas, things like that. And it's like that distance in Europe, it's like I've already crossed like 3 countries, you know, 4 countries. So it's crazy to think about distances being different because you travel so far in the United States if you're ever going to go anywhere. Obviously went to the... Okay, yeah. No more R. I can't. I'm not going to say it. I know... Do I get partial credit for knowing that I'm saying it wrong? Like, I know... It's like I know how to say it. Like, my brain has heard it. But my mouth can't... For some reason, that's the one word that I just can't say right. And I know I'm saying it wrong, so it bothers me. I hate that I'm saying it wrong. We went to the museum with the pyramid on top, okay? And the Mona Lisa inside. Does that count? Anyway, yes, the loo. I know what the loo is, which is why it's so funny. I probably did go to the loo in the Louvre or whatever. I probably had to go to the restroom. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Actually, my one and only funny story from my time in Europe. Actually, I have a couple, but there's one specifically. Is I don't know if it was just specifically where we were in Paris, because we were basically right by the Eiffel Tower, like literally within like 50 yards of the Eiffel Tower. And No, I had to pee. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to pee. And I can't remember if it was like because the bathrooms were all, you had to pay for them, or like there was like a McDonald's nearby, I think, but you had to like order something and they wouldn't let you use the bathroom or something like that. So there was like a big giant bush right there by the Eiffel Tower. So we went and climbed inside the bush where nobody could see us, like it's completely surrounding us. And that's where we did our business. Right there, looking up at the Eiffel Tower. And that is my funny story. I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And I don't have any, I was a poor 19-year-old kid. I didn't have money to pay for a bathroom. I'm sorry. Makes you laugh. When you were there was distance in hours, not miles. Social lifting could be translated to something like shock ventilation. Okay. Oh, as in opening all the windows in the house. Oh. Okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Yeah, that is something I have seen on, like, I guess on YouTube and stuff like that. People talking about differences in Europe versus the United States, where, like, the whole concept of opening up windows and things like that is more... I don't think I've ever opened my windows, quite frankly. I mean, yeah, are they openable? Of course they are. But we don't do stuff with our windows very often. We don't... I don't know. I feel like opening the windows is like more of a common thing. Like it's just, there's actually easier to do that, right? There's like mechanisms that allow it to be an easier process. And here it's just like, I don't know. They just exist. I look at my windows once every 3 weeks. Alrighty. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting something? I'm always feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't think we are, though. Let's check the chickens. Water should be good. How's the bread? Bread is okay. Chickens are okay. Let's fast forward. Anything here? No, we already looked. From about May, your windows stay open until late September. See... I would be afraid somebody would just sneak into my window. You know, some criminal or something if I left them open all the time. Although I'm sure you have some way to keep them open without maybe allowing physical entry. Maybe there's like ways to like still have them open enough for air to get through, but maybe not open enough where it's like literally wide open. Come in. You're invited. I could be wrong. I actually don't know. All right, let's get our fertilizer going. Oh, well, yeah, if you're on the 5th floor, your chances of somebody climbing into your window is less. Not impossible if you go look at those YouTube videos of guys climbing up the sides of tall, you know, skyscrapers. I guess there's still people that exist for that. But yeah, no, you're definitely much safer. Which one's our fertilizer again? Is it the yellow one? I don't remember. I think it is. Oh boy. All right, here's my other funny story. I say funny. Crazy story is probably a better word. This happened in Italy. It was in Florence. Firenze, I guess, however you say it. So we were in Florence, Italy. And we had just gotten off the train. It's like 8 o'clock at night. It's pretty late, right? It's already dark out. It's a late night, relatively late night. And we're waiting for a bus to take us to a campsite that we were going to camp at, you know, right outside the city, and whatever. So we're sitting there waiting on the bus. And while we're sitting there waiting for the bus, we hear this commotion behind us in this, like, I don't know if it was a restaurant or like I don't know if it was like a bar or something. It was some sort of establishment, right? You know, later evening establishment. And we hear this commotion and we see We hear yelling, we hear screaming, and we see these two women like just pummeling this dude with their fists. And I think they'd taken off their high heels and they were just beating him with their high heels. He reaches over, and I guess he had a bat by the door. He reaches over to grab this bat. My buddy looks at me. He's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to let this guy hit these ladies with a bat. Like, I'm just not. And obviously, you're a foreigner in a strange country. You want to be a little careful with what you do that could or could not break the law, or kind of what that might look like. But he just made it very clear to me. He's like, look, I don't know what's about to happen, but I am not going to let him hit these ladies with a bat. You know, that's just not going to happen. So he was getting ready. He was getting ready to intervene. Thankfully, right about that time, the police show up. I think it was 2 cop cars show up, and they jump out. They rush to the guy, and they start breaking this whole thing up, right? And so we're like, okay, good. At least they're here. We don't have to intervene. We don't have to get in the middle of it. You know, we would have done the civil. We would have done the chivalrous thing if we needed to, because obviously a guy brandishing a bat that's not a good thing. But thankfully we didn't have to get involved, right? Because that could have been, just problematic for other reasons. Worth it probably if you're saving somebody's life, but problematic. Anyway, so cops are there, and I guess over the course of whatever yelling they did with the women and the men or whatever like that, they decide to take one of the ladies into custody. So I don't even remember if they handcuffed her. I think they just not grabbed her, but they had her, and they were going to guide her towards the car. So the cop, and I have no idea. Look, I understand how police officers work in the United States. I don't know why it worked this way in Italy at the time. The police officer opens the back door, starts to push the lady into the back door, and then the next thing we see is he grabs her and jerks her back, and she like falls on the ground. And I was like, what is going on? And it's at that point that he reaches in and he grabs the assault rifle he had in his back seat of his car that he was about to place the lady next to. I guess he decided that an angry lady was not good. I mean, I say assault rifle. It was some sort of, submachine gun type of rifle. At the time, I did not know enough about weaponry and guns to know what kind of weapon it was. It was some sort of, it was a gun. It was some sort of gun that looked like an assault rifle of some sort. I'm sure somebody could correct my terminology, but again, I don't remember exactly what it was because I didn't know enough about guns at the time. But anyway, so he grabs that and places it in his trunk, obviously, and then proceeds to place the lady into the back of the car, and then our bus came, and we left. And it was like, oh, that about got much more exciting than we were ready for. It was a very interesting ordeal. What cop is driving around with a weapon of any sort in the backseat of his car, for one? I don't think that's how our cops typically run, but whatever. Try saying Louvre? Louvre? Is that how you say it? Louvre? Is it really as simple as that? Louvre? I could say that. I would have not pronounced. Oh, I forgot. We'd have to fertilize our other fields. Oh, hey, Edward17. Thanks for the subscription. I really appreciate it. Oh, we need an herbicide as well. Totally forgot. I need to herbicide the sugar beets as well. Oh, and no, we don't need to fertilize. I skipped the fertilizing on purpose because we have that with our planter. But herbiciding we do not have handled. Remember we went to Normandy, which was interesting while we were in France. Something I did not know, or at least I think I'm getting the description correctly, or whatever the word is. But I did not know that the cemeteries where, like, for example, American soldiers are buried in Normandy, the actual cemetery land has been given to, you know, the United States by, you know, France or whatever country it might have been in. So, like, it's something like a weird dynamic where, like, you're in France, but you're standing on American soil because that cemetery has been given to the United States, you know, obviously to bury their dead and things like that, which it's just it was a weird, I did not know that was a thing. It was kind of interesting. That might be a common thing for all countries for all I know, but it was just interesting that I just didn't know about it at the time. Actually, we're good here. Let's go vertical. I should have done that sooner, but that's okay. No harm, no foul. Where am I going? I'm going over here. We did a lot of museums. We did a lot of different museums while we were there. It was pretty cool. I like history, so museums are good for me. I like that kind of stuff. A bit more E at the end, and you're right on the money. Well, I will. I'll go look it up. I'll probably just need somebody. I need to hear like a voice saying it so I can like understand exactly how to say it properly. All right, let me get you going again. So you downloaded an Aston Martin mod for FS22, then go 210 miles an hour, and let's just say that it makes it very clear that this game doesn't have physics designed for anything over 70 miles an hour. Yes, that is correct. I downloaded a Ford Mustang mod for FS19 once, and we built a ramp, and we found out that if you go, 70 plus miles an hour and hit a ramp in Farming Simulator, you fly a very long distance. And yes, it does not obey the laws of physics how far you can fly jumping a ramp in Farming Simulator. So I can imagine an Aston Martin would also be very problematic. It'd be a cool dynamic to the next Farming Sim if you could pick the year you started and more machinery was made available for you to buy as you progress. That is actually a really cool idea. And yeah, as I was going to say, what Stormy just said, there is a mod for that allows you to basically what you just said, pick a year, and then as you progress through the years, it opens up new kind of that older farming technology, stuff like that. And so it is that kind of concept. And but yeah, I agree. I think if a Farming Simulator itself had something like that, that would be pretty cool. Because obviously, I mean, don't get me wrong, mods are great, and I have mad respect for anybody that does mods. But of course, typically anything that's going to be built by the actual game developers and built into the game is usually going to be, slightly better quality, just because they have more access to, you know, the resources that you would need to make the mod work perfectly well. I'm still very impressed by the level of modability that has already been built into this game. But again, there are some levels of things that are just closed off in some of the files that you just don't have access to. And so I'm sure the developers themselves will just have a better chance of making a good mod like that. So I would like to see something like that turned into the base game. I think that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, mod itself is also pretty awesome. I mean, that's where Seasons, you know, came from, right? There was a Seasons mod, and they just turned that into a core game component. So here's a question of ignorance for that I don't know about. So if you guys know, then, you know, I welcome, you know, the feedback for sure. But if you're making a modded vehicle in this game, like, how are you modeling that vehicle? Where do they get the models from? Are the modders that are making these vehicles, are they actually in a modeling program and actually modeling these vehicles themselves, or are they ripping them from somewhere else? Or where's... I've always been wondered that, right? Like there's obviously plenty of vehicle mods out there, and I mean, obviously I know, you know, 3D rendering is, you know, a lot of people do 3D rendering as a hobby for sure, but I'm just curious, like, what's the process there? Is there like a standardized process for modeling it in one app and then being able to port it over and stuff like that? I'm just kind of curious. I've always been curious about that kind of thing. Precision farming. I'm not sure if was that a mod first. It might have been. You might be right. Oh, I'm out of fertilizer. I guess I'm gonna grab the trailer so that we can pick up a few containers of fertilizer. I've personally never gotten into like 3D modeling in the context of like video games or anything like that. I have done like AutoCAD stuff. I actually did a couple semesters of AutoCAD classes in, I think it was high school. I guess it was high school, yeah. And I actually had a lot of fun with AutoCAD stuff. And I actually thought about at one point going into like architecture and things like that, where I could do more of that. But which is obviously kind of a similar process, but more structural around it than maybe what you're modeling in an app meant for video games, I suppose. Although, I guess if you're modeling a tractor, there's a lot of structure there. My daughter wants to get into animation and that kind of thing. So, it'll be pretty exciting to see kind of what that develops into for her. I'm assuming we missed a lot of weeds. Yep, both ends. Come on. Interesting little windrower. I've seen this one before. I've never used that one. I mean, it doesn't have the front bit, so we would be missing that. But a different mower. It's kind of cool. How much is our mower worth right now? $5,000. I mean, again, we'd have to buy the front bit, so I don't know that it's worth grabbing that. How much would the front bit cost us? Not that that one's been doing bad for us. Like, right? Our field is tiny. We don't need a better mower. I just like looking at them sometimes and drooling over them. No, I think we're okay. That was the last. Oh yeah, we don't need that either. Oh, I was like, what am I here for again? Oh yes, fertilizer. Guess we'll grab a couple containers, and then do we need some herbicide? We might as well grab a thing of herbicide while we're here. Okay. So they just... Okay, that makes sense that they would steal the 3D models from other games. And obviously from a farming simulator concept, if you've modeled it in Farming Simulator 17, then all you've got to do is like maybe update the skins or something like that occasionally. The basic frame obviously is going to be... should work, you know, all the time. So it's not like they're having to remodel these tractors over and over and over again every time there's a new Farming Simulator. They just poured it into the new Farming Simulator. But somebody had to model it originally, right? Somebody sat down and did the model, and I don't know, it's always fascinated me, modeling stuff like that. I always thought it was pretty cool. Because obviously you're modeling all of the bits, right? You're modeling, let me look at this. You know, you're modeling the tractor itself, which, you know, you could argue that's pretty straightforward. But then you got to model the tires. You got to make sure that they're, you know, movable. You got to model the engine components, all the different bits and bobs there. I don't know, it's just pretty cool to see and think about what goes into that, especially from a modder standpoint. Now, if I'm working on this as a video game from like the company, you know, that's one thing. But if I'm just modding it, there's a lot of hours that goes into that, and it's got to be like a bit of a passion project because you're not getting paid to do that. So it's kind of interesting to see how that comes about. Blender, yeah, I've experimented with Blender years ago. I don't know if I ever really figured it out though. Add functionality like via Giants. Okay, so there's ways to add functionality with Giants tools. Okay, that makes sense. No, it's very impressive. I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, considering you're not getting paid and the number of hours that goes into something like that, it's impressive. But I will say this. A lot of modders, they may not get paid at the time of the modding, but a lot of times modders, and not always the case. I mean, there's plenty of modders that are, again, like I said, passion projects, if you will. But there are modders who, let me just pick up the herbicide real quick, that are doing as part of a building out their portfolio, right? Let's say they want to get a job as a 3D renderer, 3D modeler at a company someday. Well, then by modeling in a video game or modeling in whatever context it might be as part of a mod, that's a very good way to build out your portfolio and potentially get a job someday. So that is definitely, definitely a big part of it, I'm sure. No guarantees though, so there's still got to be a little bit of passion there to be able to do it with the possibility that you never get monetary compensation for it. Sorry, I went quiet, fell asleep, pills. Oh, well, sorry, fell asleep, pains, I should say. Pain meds kicked in. I'm glad the pain meds kicked in. That's good. I could definitely understand the whole falling asleep thing. I remember when I was in the hospital, what am I trying to do? I actually told my wife, I was like, look, I am miserable. I don't want to argue with you. And I don't want to be mean to you. So I know that you care about me. I know you want to be here, but it's probably best for you to just go home. Let me be here in pain. I'll let the meds kick in and then I'll just sleep. I can just sleep the whole time. And so I slept a lot while I was in the hospital. And I was like, look, you go home, take care of the kids. I will be okay. Just let me sleep. Which, you know, in retrospect, I realize what it meant to my wife to be able to be there for me. And so I wish I had probably treated that, or I wish I'd handled that differently. Obviously, at the time, I was not in a great frame of mind, being in pain. But in retrospect, I can recognize that she would not have cared if I was asleep the entire time. Just the idea of being there next to me would have been comforting enough for her. So I feel, I mean, it's been years, so it's not like I should hold on to it and have regrets for that long. But, you know, I do wish I had, in the moment, recognized what she was trying to do and let her be there beside me during that difficult, painful time. I would have done it for her, to be fair. I would have been right there next to her. That's right, we still got fertilizing to do. I kind of forgot what we were doing. It's like, we're doing something, aren't we? Oh yeah, fertilizing. I'm glad we got the 2 sprayers now, though. Because obviously it's a lot of work to get all this stuff done. It saves quite a bit of time having the 2 sprayers. I like trying to guess what the farmer is going to put on the one field that is pretty much... Yes. The little 49 over there. It's a roll of the dice. I think it's funny that every once in a while I clip it, as you can see over there now, and I seed a little tiny corner of his field gets seeded by whatever I'm seeding at the time. And so it's got some sorghum over there on it right now. Tiny corner of sorghum. Someday I'll put that poor farmer out of his misery, and I will actually buy that field and combine it and put the cows on it or something. What does he put on it now, actually? I'm looking for, there we go. Oh, is it empty right now? It is completely empty. Well, we technically got to sugar beets in today's episode. So, we haven't harvested them yet, but they're planted. And a little bit of the weeds, then we'll do the bottom bit, and you're at least done with the herbiciding. Alrighty. That is that. Okay, herbiciding is done. Just fertilizing to go. Which is mostly done, but kind of awkwardly. Because it is about to run out of, I should repeat your question just for those that are on Twitch. How come the soil info on some fields is darker than the others? Because it's about to run out. So the soil information that you get from by selecting it and then purchasing soil information or running the little scanner over it and sending it off the samples. I just do the soil information because it's just quicker, but you can run the scanner as well. But anyway, that information only lasts for a few cycles and then it goes away. So the darker it gets, eventually it goes black, which at the bottom you can see means, and I'm pointing at my screen as if you can see my finger. The bottom of that says it's outdated data, which means that you have to refresh the information. So that's all that is. So yeah, here in another harvest or so, I will have to buy a fresh batch of soil information for whatever fields turn black. Six harvests. Okay, see, I didn't know how many harvests it actually was. Thank you, Stormy. Is it 6 actual harvests? As in, since I harvest the grass 3 times a year, is the grass every 2 years basically, or is the grass different? I guess my question there is it based on years or is it actually based off harvests? Is probably the better way to put that. I think I feel like the grass has gone quicker, but I could be just not remembering. Alrighty, that is done. You're done. Let's just check the chickens and the bread. Chickens are okay. Bread is okay. It is May. Did not mean to rhyme. And so I guess we're done until July, right? That's when we mow the grass again. And then August. Cool. All right. Alrighty. Let's check the eggs real quick. Probably need to empty those out real quick. Corn harvest header. We don't need that for anything. Oh, hello there. A vegetable harvester for not sugar beets, though. Even if it worked for sugar beets, we wouldn't use that one, obviously. Man, my day is starting to catch up with me. I'm suddenly feeling quite tired. Do we need to pick up the bread as well? Yeah, probably. Will be interesting to see if it changes anything when it's rescanned. Like what changes like what? For example. It shouldn't change any of the field soil layout or anything like that, because I'm pretty sure that is built into the map itself, like that. The type of soil, obviously, I think it's just built in and things of that nature. So honestly, the rescan, truthfully, doesn't really serve a purpose because nothing changes, as far as I know. I don't think I've ever noticed anything that actually changes. I think it literally every time you scan, it's literally the exact same scan. So there's really no real purpose for the scan at that point. I wish things changed. That would be cool, but as far as I know, nothing does. Do chickens need more food before? No, they're good for 2 more months. So let's go fast forward. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it is, the scan is needed, as Stormy said, for the appropriate fertilizing and liming, and it helps you determine the yields and things like that. So the scan is still needed as part of that, part of the precision farming stuff. But to Stormy's point, it is also tied to the map file, and I would argue it's a cool feature because I like the way it adds a layer of difference. I mean, I like the fact that the soil is different. Let's put it that way. Maybe that's the best way to put it. I like that the soil is, sorry, wrong thing. That, you know, we've got different soil. We got loamy sand, we've got sandy loam, we got loam, silty clay, all that kind of stuff. I like that. But once you've done the scan once, because nothing changes, it does feel like a little bit unnecessary at that point in time. So anyway, anything here we want? A little shallow cultivator, but again, just not anything we need. It is July, so it is mowing time. So I guess we'll get that going. Yeah, it feeds into the computers that controls the amount, because obviously the amount that you have to put on loamy sand for sorghum is different from the amount that you have to put on sandy loam for sorghum, or sandy loam for corn, or whatever. So obviously all the different crops have their levels of fertilizer, but they also have their levels of fertilizer different depending on which soil type they're actually sitting on. So there is a bunch of variance there for sure. So it does play into it, and I think I think it gives it a dynamic feel that is, you know, somewhat realistic. But the only unrealistic part, again, is just the fact that since the scan does not change, there's no reason for the scan to expire, I guess is my point. Now, would a scan in real life expire? Sure. If you've got a scan of some soil, then 6 years later, your soil makeup is going to be changed as much because of the fact that you've been planting crops in the first place. Now, they don't have that represented in the game, right? The concept of the crops themselves affecting the makeup and the nutrients that are in the soil. I mean, that's part of the reason why actual, you know, modern farmers, a lot of times, not always, but I guess, but a lot of times, they'll do rotating crops, right? You know, you want to be able to rotate your crops around so that you're not, you know, some crops might put nutrients back into the soil, some crops might take it out, and you want to kind of rotate those around so you don't just end up with bad fields. Crop rotation is a very common thing. It's not really represented in this game, right? There's no real concept of crop rotation in this game. Kind of wish there was. It'd be cool, but there's just not. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, see how it changes, yeah. I need to repair this tractor soon. Truth be told, I probably need to buy a new tractor soon, because this one, it's needing repairs more and more frequently, which means it is, it's kind of on its last leg, I think, actually. All right, we'll get the mowing done, and then we need to... It's not time to get the stuff for the sugar beets yet. We will be harvesting sorghum next month, though, so we're ready for that. We've only got the 2 fields to harvest this time, so... it should go pretty quick. Of course, then we'll have to get the sugar beets harvested after that, which will go pretty slow, but that's all right. Yeah, I wish the concept of crop rotation was maybe baked in a little bit more, but I don't know how they would actually represent that. I guess they would have to find some way to track or to identify, you know, which crops do affect the soil in different ways, and then just find a way to track what that does to the soil itself. But that might be a layer of complexity that is no longer fun. I don't know, you know? You know, let me just stop you for a second. Do a little rotation here just so we can get that guy repaired while we're finishing up the mow. Might as well multitask a little bit here. Yeah, it'd be cool if they could build in some optional things like that. I mean, if they've got periodic plowing in, that's sort of the concept of crops affect your soil. Let's plow it so we can turn up the soil that's deeper under that maybe not has been affected as much, things like that. Turn under the topsoil, whatever, you know, the plowing's actually doing. So there's a little bit of a concept of that. Obviously the liming's designed to kind of put stuff back into the soil. So there's a little bit of that there, but it's just not fleshed out fully in the way that would require actual crop rotation. Yeah, we're just repairing you. I will say, like, my grandfather used to do, he used to do one crop during, you know, the normal cycle, the normal, you know, like the, you know, the summer or whatever. We'd plant it in the spring, harvest it in the fall, and then he would do winter wheat as part of his crop rotation. He would actually just put wheat on his fields that would effectively grow during the winter, and he would harvest it come spring, and then go back to his main crop at that point. Now they don't have the concept of winter wheat in the game currently. I'm sure there's probably a mod out there that does it. Who knows? I mean, I guess wheat is already winter wheat because you do plant it in September and harvest it in July. But I know that for my grandfather, he would harvest it like it was not a year-long thing. He could rotate crops better. Like there was a way for him to rotate. And again, he did sorghum, so he would probably rotate his wheat with sorghum, and the way the harvest would work, it would work out usually. At least that's how my mom described it. I was not aware enough of his farming and interested enough in farming to actually know when I was growing up, you know, a little kid. But the way my mom described it, it worked something like that. Soybeans are probably the most accurate representation of crops in the game. In real life, they produce a lot of nitrogen, thus no need for, or very little need for fertilizer. In the game, no fertilizer. Yeah, exactly. Soybeans do not need fertilizer. That is true. Which makes it even funner that the main catch crop in the game, oilseed radish, which is what's used to clear rotation to rejuvenate the soil, becomes virtually useless with precision farming. You're correct, Stormy. I actually wouldn't mind doing oilseed radish. It's kind of an interesting kind of, you know, concept, you know, kind of interesting way to do things. But exactly what you're saying, it becomes useless with precision farming. There's a mod for crop rotation that has a table of yield bonuses and deficit, which tracks the last 3 crops on a field. With a table as an in-game menu tab, it makes it fun. You know what? I might look for that one. Let me write that down. Because that actually sounds like it might be an interesting addition to a save. Because part of the reason why I like to do like some of the animals and some of the production facilities is I like the idea of just doing different crops, not just doing the same crop time after time after again. Now, to me, that gets boring. So I like the idea of some sort of crop rotation mod as a way to kind of break up the monotony, you know, or kind of make things less boring. So I'll look that up. Thank you for the suggestion. All right, you're good to go. You are doing the last little bit. I actually thought about coming up with a way to do a multiplayer, like a live stream save on a multiplayer map, or on a multiplayer server, I should say, even if I was playing by myself, but a multiplayer server. And the reason I was thinking that way is because on a multiplayer server, you can actually keep the game running in the background all the time, right? You can just literally just have it run in real time all the time, or whatever game speed you set it at. So if I were to like run the game in such a way where, you know, every live stream was like a new month or something like that, where it was always still running in the background. I don't know. It might not work functionally. It might work better if I was like, if I live stream Farming Simulator like 5 days a week, and then you could like still have the game running. We would log back in and we'd just pick up wherever the game season is at or something like that. It might be an interesting way to do it, but I don't think it would work functionally for me based on the fact that I only stream 1 day a week for Farming Simulator. Alrighty. Mowing's done. Chickens are good, I think. Let's check them one more time. Chickens are exactly good. They have exactly enough food, although I should probably just drop off whatever's left in the trailer over there. I actually wouldn't mind if we were to swap the engine on this white tractor, going with one of the other gearboxes, because I've always felt like this gearbox has a little bit, it's a slow acceleration, right? It really struggles to get through those gear changes at the low end. So going with one of the other 2 gearboxes might be a little bit smoother. Cool. All right. That is that. Did we check the eggs? Eggs are probably okay. And bread. Bread is okay. Wow, we're actually almost done with the flour. Although we're about to harvest again, so that makes sense. Alrighty. About 23 minutes left in the stream. We'll definitely get this. Well, I say definitely. We will get started on the sorghum harvest. I don't know if we'll finish it yet or not, but we will definitely get started on it, which we're about to do now. With only 2 fields, we might be able to get it done. I'm going to start on the far field, just because we know that this close field is almost exactly enough sorghum for the chickens. So we'll start on the far field. That way we know we can put all of that into the flour mill, and then whatever's left over we'll give to the chickens. It's not on Mod Hub. There's a GitHub page for it, as it is a continuous. Okay. Yeah. I try to keep most of my mods off, get them off of Mod Hub, because my hope is that it gives it a higher chance that people that are playing on like PlayStation or Xbox can also get the mod. Obviously, we've all talked about there are some mods that even on the Mod Hub that are not available for PlayStation, Xbox. But I try to get at least as many as I can from there. That does not mean I will not get anything from a separate location if I want to try it out under a special circumstance. So I still might try that one out. But yeah, and that makes sense that if they're not done with development, that they wouldn't put it up on the published site yet. Well, we don't need to start plowing right away, because obviously our new seeder does not require that anymore. Is there really anything for us to do right now? We could always buy the equipment to prepare for the sugar beet harvest, but it's still 2 months away. There's really not much to do while we're waiting for the harvest to continue. We can go get some water, but there's not really that much water needed. We're actually going to get through all this. Well, we're going to basically get through all the flour before we start resupplying it again. I was just reading about this as well. Looks like there was an issue with sleeping indefinitely, which has now been resolved. Definitely. In regards to what? You're talking about in game? Sleeping indefinitely in game? Could always buy our sugar mill, but if we do that, we won't have enough for all of the sugar beet stuff, I don't think. Yeah, we won't. But nice to get one of these guys on the cheaper side of things. So yeah, I was going to say, you were asking earlier about the soil information. As you can see, we've already mowed the grass up here, and it's already black. And then the parts of the sorghum field here that we're mowing, or that we're harvesting, are starting to turn black. So obviously we want to buy this soil information. I'm not going to buy this one yet, because if I buy it now, then the bits of it that are getting harvested still would be deprecated by one harvest, whereas the outer bit would already would be fresh. But we will go ahead and buy the stuff for up here though, because this one is already black. Alrighty. Yeah, when you slept, it wouldn't go to the next day and have sleep animation to... okay. Anything that changes any game mechanic, such as scripting mods, is not allowed on console, as these are screening and security conditions from Xbox. Oh, I mean, I know we talked about why they weren't allowed, but I don't know if I'd picked up on the fact that it was like, you know, a security issue because it was a scripting mod. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, that is interesting. Well, here's a fun idea, or a fun question. Obviously, Microsoft has bought Blizzard. Well, whatever the parent, Activision, Blizzard Activision. Blizzard is the maker of, you know, this very small, you know, obscure MMO called World of Warcraft. There is speculation that at some point World of Warcraft will come to the Game Pass. I don't know if it's true or not. Who knows? I think Diablo's already coming to the Game Pass. Obviously, modding, or at least modding in the context of UI mods and things like that, is massive in World of Warcraft and basically required to play it at any high level. So then the question becomes, now, are you going to be playing on your Xbox with a keyboard, with a controller? No, you're not playing an MMO with a controller on your Xbox. You can still plug in a keyboard and mouse to an Xbox, can't you? I think that was a thing at one point in time. I don't know if it still is. Kind of begs the question then, if that's ever going to be a thing, simply because if you put World of Warcraft on the Xbox and then do not allow modding because all the mods are scripted and kind of scripting languages typically, then it will be interesting to see how those restrictions play out, because that would not be a good situation. That would not work very well. What am I doing? I'm driving around in circles talking, and brought water over here just to make sure that the crops didn't need some extra water, apparently. I would be surprised if World of Warcraft ever comes to the Xbox itself, but if it does, I mean, I don't know. I wonder how they'd get around that modding thing. That is a very peculiar question. All right, well, we're not going to get the sugar beets harvested in today's stream, but at least we got them planted. So they are there, and they'll be the first thing, basically, that we harvest in the next stream, as well as starting to process our sugar finally. So that's pretty exciting that we're finally going to get onto the second to last piece of the puzzle. I say second to last. Technically, there's two pieces of the puzzle related to milk, but they'll effectively be solved with a single thing, right? Just getting the cow set up, really. And then I guess we'll have to buy the dairy to get the, what is it, butter that we need? All right, Edward. Sounds good. Didn't realize it's almost 4 a.m. Wow. Well, I appreciate you joining and hanging out. You should get some sleep. Having great chatting, and we'll definitely try and join another live stream. Yep, I appreciate it. Someday I will figure out a way to make it earlier for you guys, and I really appreciate that you guys have been dedicated enough to show up this late or this early in the morning for where you live. It's pretty awesome. I mean, quite frankly, if the very large chunk of my viewers for the live streams are in Europe, then it would be a really good idea for me to figure out how to cater to your particular viewing schedules and needs. You know what I mean? In my defense, I was not expecting, that many Europeans to watch my content, especially this late at night. So it's been a very pleasant surprise, of course. If I didn't already have an obligation planned for like Saturday mornings, I would consider streaming Saturday mornings. But that is when I play World of Warcraft. I get up at 6:30 in the morning and start playing at 7 o'clock in the morning every Saturday and Sunday. That is my World of Warcraft times. We play for 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, and it is 7 o'clock in the morning my time when we start. It's a bit rough considering I have to get up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning during the weekday. So I just get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock every morning, and I'm not a morning person. So it is what it is, but it works out. Xbox has mouse and keyboard. I thought they did. Yeah, I assumed the Xbox had mouse and keyboard support, but I'll be honest, I haven't tried a mouse and keyboard on an Xbox since the original Xbox, maybe? I don't know. Mods raise the issue of licensing conflicts as they can use branding of vehicles and stuff from brands that don't have a deal with the game developer. That makes perfect sense as well. You are correct there. And then scripting mods doesn't matter what type of deal the game dev has with Microsoft, Sony pertaining screening approval methods for the mods. Gotcha. So if it's a game that is owned effectively, right, because they bought them, by Microsoft, then the deal for allowance of scripting mods would presumably be much easier to overcome. And that makes sense. If they screen the mods for dangerous behavior and take responsibility for it, there is a possibility of the mods coming to Xbox, PS, but many devs don't want to bother with. Yeah, that makes sense as well. I mean, it's a lot of hassle to go through that screening process. It's a lot of hassle to get licensing rights for content. If you're just an independent modder, then to some degree you don't have to worry about licensing, right? You can just, to some degree, do whatever you want. And for the most part, companies that you might be using licensed, stuff for, they're not going to come after you because you're not making any monetary gains from that mod, right? Now, it is a little bit, I personally, as a YouTuber, have to be a little careful of what mods that I add into my stuff, because I am a little worried as a YouTuber, because I am trying to make money off of it, that I might add a mod that could add licensed content that could get me, get me in trouble. For example, Football Manager. I have gone to the trouble of adding in the licensed logos for all of the teams and all that kind of stuff. Is it possible one of those teams or one of the, whatever could come after me and say, hey, you got to take that down. You can't make money off of that. It is. Most of the YouTubers I've watched also use the licensed skins and things like that and licensed logos for teams. So, I mean, if they're going to come after me, they're going to have to come after everybody. And it seems like that would be more bad press than worth it. And so I don't think I doubt anybody's going to get called on that or get in trouble for that. But it is still something that I did consider for a while there, of whether or not it was even worth using that kind of licenses in my Football Manager games. So something to consider for sure. But again, if you're not making money off of it, it's very unlikely that anybody's going to come after you. Not impossible, but very unlikely that anybody's going to come after you. At least if you're representing said licensed subject matter in a semi-positive light, right? If you're like it's hurting the product or hurting the brand, then they might have a problem with that for sure. But you're not going to see that kind of stuff in Farming Simulator typically. Typically, somebody puts a tractor in Farming Simulator, it's because they love that tractor and they're trying to portray positivity about that brand. I'm sure some brand, like some lawyer that knows about branding and copyright stuff like that could correct a lot of my thinking and tell me, where I'm wrong, and I would definitely welcome that. But I'm basically just making statements based off common sense, I guess, compared to what's actually legally allowed or not allowed. Obviously, if anybody ever came to me and said, "Hey, you got to take that down. You can't make money off that," I would do whatever I needed to do. I'm not gonna fight that. That's ridiculous. But I suspect that most of the people are not gonna bother because, for one, I make very minimal amount of money off of it, and two, it's not like I doubt it's hurting anything in that regard. But you never know. Some companies are very, very picky. I guess picky is the wrong word. Very careful. I don't know. Trying to find a kind way to say it. They're very particular about their name and where it's used, and there's plenty of companies that will go after the little guy if they're using their name in any form or fashion. So it's happened before. All right, we got 5 minutes left. Goodness, we're not even going to get done with the sorghum harvest between now and then. That's all right. We'll knock it out first thing when we come back next week. And like I said, we will definitely be doing sugar beets next week. Initially we're going to sell the sugar, so we'll make a little bit of extra money from that. Of course, we'll get another round of all the different crops as well. And then it's just cows. However much money we need to get the cows set up. And we're good to go. And it is butter, right? Yeah, it's butter that we need for the cake. So we'll need enough milk to get the milk as well as make some butter from it. Which might mean that we need more than the 45 cows that I typically run. I might have to do the math on that. I might need to sit down and figure out the math on how much milk 45 cows produce versus how much milk and butter combined that we need for X amount of cakes. We'll see. I'll figure out the math once we get a little bit closer to that. Don't get me wrong. I would love an excuse to bump up to one of these bigger cow pastures, but these bigger cow pastures are very expensive. It's hard to justify $722,000 for this bad boy, even though it's really cool and it has the automatic feeder and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to justify that much money when I could pay a third of that cost for half as many cows, or actually a little bit more than half as many cows, which is obviously, if you do the math, much more efficient. I could put 3 of those 45s down, get 135 cows as opposed to 80. So, for the same price, basically. Fun fact, that is one of the reasons why they've been so hesitant to add more advanced breakdown maintaining mechanics into the game. Ah, okay. That does make some sense, because obviously there is a very large, what's the right word? Companies that make farming equipment specifically probably pride themselves on the longevity and the reliability of their equipment. And so if you have a simulated John Deere tractor, just pulling a name out of nowhere. If you have a simulated John Deere tractor that breaks down frequently in a video game, I suppose that could be a bad optic for John Deere that is, you know, potentially unfair, right? So I could see something like that. Yeah, exactly. They do not want their stuff to be portrayed as unreliable. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually. I'm trying to think of a way they could get around that without having that portrayal. I mean, the only way to get around that without having that portrayal is to literally have all the equipment degrade at the same rate no matter what the manufacturer is. Then there's no comparison, right? A Case tractor is going to degrade at the exact same rate as a John Deere, or the exact same rate as a Kloss or whatever, anything like that. So, but of course, if everything degrades at the same rate, then what's the point? You know, at some point, you know, what's the difference? So, yeah, that's an interesting problem to solve. That I say problem to solve. I probably should put quotes around that because it's maybe not really a problem. It's just a, yeah, would it be nice to add some breakdown stuff and some mechanical stuff, things like that to the game? Sure. But I suppose if you can't add it, it's not necessarily a problem. It's just, you know, it is what it is. That's interesting, though. That makes a lot of sense, though. Now that you say it that way, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I've played, the car mechanic simulator or whatever, you know, quite a bit back, you know, not recently, but it's been a while, but I've played that a lot. That's a fun game. It's fun to do the whole breakdown an engine and repair it and put it back together and stuff like that. So if there was a level of that concept in this video game, I think people would enjoy it, honestly. But it kind of, like I said, it plays into exactly what you just said. So last thing I need is for John Deere to virtually shut down my John Deere equipment in Farming Simulator because they got mad at me about something. So they have a master switch to shut down my equipment even in the video game. That would be hilarious. Because didn't they do that, something like that, with the whole Russia thing? Didn't they shut down a bunch of John Deere equipment in Russia or something like that? I thought I read about that. I realize I've just been sitting here talking and not actually doing anything. All right, well, I guess, you know what? I can sit here while this guy's finishing up here. I'm going to let this guy finish this, and I'll probably save the game. We'll do the other field next episode. And then, of course, like I said, get to the sugar beets and go from there. But, I don't know. It was a fun stream. I appreciate everybody that came out. Appreciate everybody that came out and listened to me talk about completely random things for 3 hours. and also for all you guys that you know joined, and especially for you guys that are late early morning or late nights or whatever, or in the hospital. My goodness, I really appreciate it very much. I really do. Hopefully I've been able to provide some distraction or some sort of entertainment or whatever the case may be. Or at the very least, I've been told on YouTube many times that there are people that listen to my YouTube videos because apparently my voice is soothing and helps them fall asleep. I have mixed emotions about that. I mean, I'm glad that they're falling asleep to my YouTube videos, and I guess I still get a full view of the entire video if that is the case. But the emotion about how I lull them to sleep, you know, I'm hoping I'm not boring, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I do appreciate everybody who came out. My next live stream will be Saturday. We are finishing up. We're so close. We're finishing up a Portugal run on Civ 6. And we will then do... I actually don't know who's next. We'll take a look on whoever's next after that. We'll pick them right back up on Saturday as well. And then, of course, Football Manager on Monday. And then we'll be back with some Farming Simulator on Wednesday. So Wednesday is the 27th. You know what? The first bit of the live stream next Wednesday might be something a little different. I'll see if I can get it set up and see if it's worth it. But it might be something a little different just to have a little bit of fun. And then, of course, we will get back to this save for sure. Anyway, I do appreciate everybody that came out. May God bless you, and I do hope you join me again next time.